Everyone, and welcome back to the Console Wars. As we're going to start on the Xbox side of things, I'm now joined by Bees, who has brought himself a Union Jack Makoa now. We're just having fun with the plushies here. You know, Bitey left his dogs on the desk, so yay. We don't have to worry about the dogs leaving us and abandoning us. Pretty good start. Bees, I want to get your thoughts on that last game.
It was really interesting, actually. I like the way that we initially thought that it could have gone to a 4-0, and the second team actually managed to show up quite heavily in the start of it all. Unfortunately, didn't pull it through for the whole way, but I really enjoyed it, actually. I had quite a good time watching the games.
Yeah, you know, I'm excited because, you know, we get to prove that console is exciting and dynamic. You hear the players yelling, right?
Yeah,
it's that
that's
energy,
my favorite part.
that hype. That's what we do in console. That's how it is in the console world, kids.
I want to hear them pop off.
That's right. You gotta get up. You gotta yell. You know, like that's what makes it great. Anyway, let's take a look at the bracket and see what we have had so far. If you're just joining us, Blight ended up defeating Ghost 5-4-2. They are going to be moving on to the grand finals, and they are going to be awaiting the conclusion of this matchup between Gankstars and Elevate. And you know, let me go ahead and flick my page here because I didn't realize I didn't change my page. All right, well, let's talk about these two teams. First, starting with Gankstars. I want to get your thoughts, Gore, on this squad.
This is a strong team. Like, this is one of the ones that people always, like, they look at them, they're just like, it's Gankstars, they're going to win. And that just kind of, like, that's the connotation that the name has. It's just, oh, it's Gankstars. Okay, so that's who's going to be the ones at the top. Welshmania, WRLDedit, both players with a ton of experience. The same thing really goes for the entire team. They've been playing for a long time, but those two are always the ones that I feel kind of stand in the forefront. They're the ones that always come to my mind when I start thinking of Gankstars.
Yeah, and Bees, what's your familiarity with a lot of these players, or at least what are you looking for?
Well, to be honest with you, the thing that I was going to be looking for in the console league was actually seeing more of Blaster play. And we've actually already seen it, so I'm pretty content, and now I just want to see what these guys can put out as well, see if they can do it. I was chatting with the Gankstars guys, and they've got a pretty heavy bet riding on this one. One of them's getting a tattoo if they win. Yeah,
really?
So
of what? Can you say it on stream, or
I don't know. They told me to say it. Hashtag it's only money.
It's
only money.
Oh my God.
That's what I was told.
So you're gonna have to live with that.
Yeah,
which player?
The sub is going in.
The sub. Okay, so you're gonna have to live with that if you have that. Just an FYI, you know, just saying. So Gankstars. So you had mentioned before that WRLDedit, one of the players to look out for, as well as Welshmania. Anyone else in this particular team that you're looking out for?
I always look at Naaaarrrk, but I'm not sure if. Sometimes it's because his play will pop off. Sometimes it's just because the way his name is spelled always catches my eye. It's got 4 A's and 3 R's in it. And it just grabs your eye. Like, you just gravitate towards it.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Why do you have so many A's in your name?
I feel like you're supposed to yell it. Maybe it's for the hype moments.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
Kind of like a con
who's
thing.
casting over here? We got Shift and Rain Day. So I'm fully expecting one of them to, at the very least, yell it at some point in time.
I hope he can get like a quadricle or something. Like really puts it up there so it's not just kind of thrown out.
There you go. I like that. I like that. All right. So on the other side of the stage, we have Elevate. Had an opportunity to chat with these guys quite a bit yesterday, as a matter of fact. Came around as the console guy. I wanted to meet the console players, all wonderful people. What's your experience with this team, Gore?
Elevate's always really strong. This has one of the players I had actually mentioned earlier when I was saying when I look through the console scene, there's one name that usually stands out to me, and it's always SirJamesParker. On this team, he is the one, like, he'll play the Bomb King, he'll be their blaster, he'll be their carry. And every time I remember watching them, I would be like, okay, the first time he made his name for himself. The next time I'm like, can he repeat this performance? And then he just kept doing it, kept going. And he is the one that I always look at when they are making these plays. Like, what is he doing with setting it up right? And the team is helping him out. sSatisfies and Wxnderful actually are very, very good at allowing him, but he's always the name that's like popping up in the bottom right in the kill feed. He's the name that you see on the screen, and he's just causing so much havoc.
I just want to say SirJamesParker.
It's a great name.
Like
He's
just
been
the
knighted.
thought, you know. I think he's North American as well, right? I believe he's a North American team. So I don't think that.
I don't think he can get knighted.
I don't think he can get
I'm not
knighted.
sure if he's a true Sir.
I don't know if anyone has told him that.
I think as a Brit, I can I can sort it out.
So you can, you can.
I think I can sort that out. Yeah.
So that it does happen. Okay, this is good to know. I want to hit up the queen and just be like, "Yo, homie."
I'll give her a quick call.
Hit me up with that hot knighting.
I got her on speed dial. It's cool.
All right, so we're waiting for the matchup to begin here in just a little bit. We'll also have those bans for you as soon as they are available, as well as the map pick. You mentioned that you wanted to see a lot of the blasters, just big explosions and stuff like that coming out on the console side. I was, impressed with the buck play as well. Like, Skeppy was just diving in and shredding them, and in fact was even a big factor in this. Were you expecting that solid buck play, Gore?
I was expecting something similar, but I don't think I expected it at that level. Like, I wasn't expecting constant, like, triple kills, double kills coming out, especially from Skeppy. But there was a point, like, Bitey, he was watching, I think it was on Serpent Beach in the first map, and it wasn't a win for them, but he watched the buck, and he's just like, that movement was just so fluid. Like, the way that Skeppy was playing it, it just felt like an extension of himself.
He was impressed, and I think Bitey, here he comes. One never to be uninvolved. So the bans for Gankstars are Fish Market and Elevate will take out Serpent Beach. We'll see what the first map is going to be in just a second, but I do agree. And again, stop sleeping on the controller. I'm telling you, you can dive in and do some business. People they just don't expect it. Anyway, Frog Isle, first map. For map 1, a staple of Paladins here. Yeah. So, we saw some weird picks in the last one. Shout outs to Ying. So I kind of want to get your thoughts. Anything you're hoping that you don't see or hoping you will see?
I'm personally hoping for a Grover. Like, I like Grover on this map. It's another one that's just really strong for him. He's got really long lines of sight, so you can just get a ton of damage down. He, in maps like this, will be at the top of the damage charts if played right.
Yeah, I love seeing Grover play. It's like, for me, it's Grover and Buck. That's what I do. And whenever I play Paladins, that's it. I love those two champions. Bees, how about you? What are you looking out for?
I mean, respect to the Church of Grover. But I'd like to see another Drogoz. Like, I know I'm going to keep harping on about the blasters, but it's so mechanically more challenging on a controller to actually play these blasters, especially when you want to hover, use your fire spit, and combustible in one rotation fluidly on the controller. And I just want to see more of it. I think it's so impressive, and I like seeing that. I want to see the Grok on this map as well. There's very strong, I know he's very strong on the console anyway, but there's very strong applications on the Grok totem on this map, where you can plant the totem around the tree area on the point, and it kind of carries them all the way around half the push with heals that can't really be destroyed unless the enemy pushes in deep, which I think is going to be nice to watch.
Were you also surprised by the Genos that we saw from Soldier Bot?
Damaged Genos.
Yeah.
I'm not super surprised. I've seen Nip run a damaged Genos before and make it really, really effective. I think it's nice as well that they're implementing the double support that's been so strong at the last LAN, and making it really work for them as well.
Yeah, the one thing that the console players really wanted to bring home is that their meta is as close, if not the same, from or to the PC. Yeah. Again, you see some kooky stuff like Ying. I just was kind of surprised to see Ying quite a bit, but it makes sense though, especially because I think it was what was his name? Cutie Shoe. That's his like comfort pick. So okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, I know for
wow.
Yeah, comfort pick. I like it.
When it comes down to like Saris as well, like it's just some of the other healers that we don't see as much on PC. Maldamba is like really, really intricate for like, I need to hit you with my heal. I have to be aiming right at you, and if I miss it, there's some cards that kind of help you out. Like, okay, well, we'll reduce the cooldown for that since you whiffed it, but we'll be able to bring it back. If you run like a Saris, you run a Ying, your heals are going to be more guaranteed. You're going to be able to like say, I know I'm applying this, I know I'm healing you up. But the problem is either if you're Saris, it's just one target, and if you're Ying, you have to be in a very specific area. You have to kind of be around her if you want those heals, so it's not going to be as ranged as we're seeing out of like the Genos.
Yeah, it's certainly creates a different kind of mechanic, if you will, and a different kind of approach, and it's just not one that I would have thought to have seen, especially given the matches we saw yesterday. So I guess that's where maybe the differences start to kind of pop up there, right? Like how the supports play and stuff. But
100%.
Cool to see them though adapting and utilizing those blasters, and I love the common misconception that they said that they do not play Victor, contrary to popular belief, and we have not seen a single Victor. It's like, way to go, guys. guys. Way to prove them wrong.
Yeah, do you reckon they went backstage and they all said, like, listen, guys, let's
No,
let's hide it from them.
They were so adamant on it. Like everyone, like one of the guys from Elevate came up to me right away as soon as I met him, and he said, "Just want to let you know, man, we don't play Victor." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. You know, he's not as great right now."
I mean, I like playing Victor.
Yeah, but it does
I
make
just
sense
think it's
though.
fun.
As the mechanics of the console players evolves, Victor does become less of a fantastic pick. As you see, now they've brought the buck play up to the levels of the PC, that if you try and pull the Victor into the buck, especially like a bulk up buck, you're not going to get the damage to kill him before the buck reigns supreme and takes the Victor out. So it makes a lot of sense, really.
Yeah, just challenging.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
and now they're like leveling up, which is a good thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Just so you guys know, we are waiting on a delay on the stage at this moment. Just want to keep everyone up to date on what's going on. So for the time being, you're just going to continue to have to hear us and our sultry voices, you know, entertain you for the time being until we get into the action. We got a lot of people here checking out the new Paladins Battlegrounds. It's in the back over there. I am like, you know, and then there's Bitey right in front of me. You're right there. You're literally right there. Also, a couple of the other PS4 players are in the house as well. I will not say your name, but we had a couple other, you know, guys here. Kind of, it is cool too, because like, you know, you're like I am very new to this, and I have been enjoying getting educated and learning and continuing to like develop my knowledge of the game. It's been very, very fun to kind of like come at it from like, you know, a complete beginner standpoint, and then learn the game over time.
And I think it's, like, this is one of the best places to learn it, like, because you get to see showcasing like the top play. Like, I mean, you're going to see these teams making sure that, like, hey, why are they playing Ying here? What is Ying going to provide? Well, here's the reason Ying's going to be played, and they're going to show you that through their gameplay. And then we can try to put it into words and sometimes not say it the right way, but sometimes it'll be accurate.
Sometimes it'll be accurate. There you see the people playing Paladins Battlegrounds in the back. Actually, no, that looks like Smite. Yeah, that's Smite
That's
over there.
That's
some Smite.
The new champ on screen there, though.
Yeah, got Cerberus. On the other side of that, though, is the Paladins Battlegrounds. Did you get a chance to play it yet?
I took the very first win of Paladins Battlegrounds.
Did you?
I
Really?
did indeed. Me and the boys from Kanga took the very first official win.
Oh, well, that's not fair. You were with
Hey,
a pro
it's
team.
fair.
It was me and Shift, and I barely play on PC.
I even went out my way to get a much bigger mouse mat than the one provided.
Are you serious? See, but these are the things. These are the problems that we have, you know? I asked for a controller, and everyone laughed at me.
I would have
Gets
laughed
his
at you
mouse
too.
pad, no problem.
Everyone made fun of me. They pointed at me. They laughed at me. Gore, did you get a chance to play
I got
it
to play it. I was very proudly not last, which was,
Okay.
I think, I lost the first fight I was in, but I was not last, which
good.
was the most important part to me.
Okay, same here. I won my first fight, and then after that, we just got absolutely shredded each and every time. Because there was like this one round where it was just Vivian, and there was like 4 Vivians, and then we all died. So that, you know, feels bad, man. Okay. Here we go. Time for the champ draft. Let's see what we have. And the first band comes through. It's going to be Maeve taking a seat for this one. Let's see what Gankstars decides to do here. Oh, never mind. Makoa. So that was it was interesting, but now it's Makoa, and now it makes even more sense.
I was thinking what the Maeve was for.
It's one of the. I feel like I've seen Maeve on Frog Isle, but she's not. She can be a top performer here, but it's not really like the map that you think, oh man, we need the Maeve here. It's just kind of like we can come through. It's going to be Frozen Guard.
Okay, so we have just found out that it is Frozen Guard. Breaking news, folks. You were just fed a whopping fake news. And
Breaking
now
the
we're
mail.
at Frozen Guard from map 1. All right.
Time to destroy our
I will say,
I'll be impressed.
Still
if you
wouldn't
know
mind
which
seeing Grover
direction
here.
to go first.
I think it's okay just as well as it would be on Frog Isle. It's a little bit different because a while ago they added a couple of walls, but there were a few things that, I mean, he still has long lines of sight, long areas that he can try to find it, but still, I don't know if he's going to be top pick. It looks like we're seeing just a few others that are, I mean, Buck is definitely someone you want to grab before that.
See what we're going to have coming up next. Buck, good pick there. So Nara and Buck, firstly, for them. Rock coming through, and I tell you, that audio definitely caught me off guard. I think he snarled and licked his lips at some point. And it seems like we're going to have Leanne as well. So, interestingly enough, with the range and whatnot, but you had mentioned before, you were talking about the range, you were talking about that can play a role here.
The Leanne's actually also very good against the buck with the auto aims and stuff. She's quite good at flicking onto the buck for extra damage.
And this is another map. We don't see it often, and I don't think we're going to see it here. I don't think we're going to see it unless I know a few of the international teams might run it later, but when you're on this map, this is a place that you could potentially look for some snipers. We have seen Strix and Kinessa in the past have some effect on here. It's a little bit more difficult because of the positioning you have to take. Grover is in that like perfect range where he still gets his like extra damage, and he still gets to sit far back, but it doesn't have to like worry about a scope putting him too far in and having people come up on his side.
I think what makes him great on this map as well, you can take the backline approach, get the extra damage, and then it's just one vine grip from getting to the center, where you can heal, use your ult, and keep people alive on the point, and then quite easily retreat back again to get your damage back out. He's a very easy in and out champion on Frozen Guard.
Torvald's going to be the final pick here. So, gentlemen, takes on this draft. Who do you have? Who are you liking?
I'm really liking Gankstars. Like, the Grover is going to be able to get him a lot of damage. Buck is just Buck, but on the other side, when it comes down to it, Grok and Ruckus are incredibly strong. I mean, it could go either way, but I'm leaning a little bit more towards Gankstars.
Okay, okay. What about for you, Beast?
I have to go opposing. I'm going to give this one to Elevate.
Really?
Yeah.
And why is that?
I don't know. I've had a little chat with the Elevate boys before I came on, and they filled me with some confidence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they filled me with some confidence.
All right. So we have confidence. It's a split table here, gentlemen. I'm curious to see how this one is going to come out. So let's send it over to our casters. It's going to be Rain Day and Shift. Take it away.
Thanks, Golden Boy. My name is Rain Day, of course, 7 Rare. That's Alan. I hold Shift on a Frio. About to get things started here. It's been a minute. This is our second cast together, and this time I don't have a pin. I'm sorry to do it.
Do you want to borrow mine for a second?
Maybe, just a little bit. Now you can take
now
it
I
back.
feel old.
Yeah, you look weird.
Whoa.
Who are you?
I don't know. I hold pen.
I hold pen. No, that's a good one in case I hold Shift doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Of course, we're here for the Paladins console wars continued on, now facing on the Xbox side, and a looking to really obviously see who's going to get to that final side to face off against Blight. People saying Elevate are the ones to take it, but I don't know. What do you think about these drafts?
The drafts look good on both sides. You know, the desks they're split, and I think they should be because on paper it looks good. The big question mark becomes how well does Bloakley play? He hasn't played the game in about 3 months. Got filled in last minute due to an emergency on that side of the things. He will be playing a Naaaarrrk here, and it's again a really solid pick on Frozen Guard. She can shut off those big entryways into that first capture point.
Again, looking at an Alacrity Leon here for Elevate. Will she be able to climb through? It seems like they're stalling just a little bit. Of pause coming through for WRLDedit. And Gankstars will be taking just a load off there, try to figure some things off as well. And, you know, Alan, I guess this is a good time for us to talk a little bit about Paladins, set the stage, you know, for those, maybe tuning in, maybe viewing in about the game and kind of what's going on.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about capture points and payloads. I mean, it's a two-stage process round after round. You start off by trying to capture the central neutral payload point.
Right.
You get up to 100%, get that capture point in, you get yourself a payload that you can push for a possible 2 of the, obviously, 4 points that you want. So as you take a look a lot at these early fights, what we're going to see very early on without ultimates on the board, because they have to charge those up, are a lot of poke. You see these fights kind of extend longer and longer. Can you find someone who's got a low health pool that we can jump on? Can we just delete somebody off the bat if you get a Makoa pull? That positioning is really clutch, and especially on Frozen Guard, this is a really unique map because it's kind of slanted. You have that low ground with the wall on what usually is like the left side from where we start, and then we have that central igloo, which is completely surrounded by those pillars. It's really hard to get into. You take a lot of damage doing it, and then the opposite side, you have those big statues that have a huge line of sight break, which again, it forces you to kind of like be 2 rams fighting each other, this head-to-head battle constantly happening early on.
And of course, trying to get 4 points, that's the end of the deal. If you can get that, you win the game, but you can only win by capturing an objective. So that's why the objective fights matter so much. Sometimes, you know, even if a game goes 3-3, this team is ultimately going to win because their objective fight is that much better. Often in Frozen Guard, it does come down to that, but again, with a map this long, like all the other maps in Paladins, different specificities that come into play with the strategies of how you draft. Frozen Guard, as you mentioned, very long. So champions like Grover being selected here, Leon as well, who can use that long-range presence and really kind of stop entire pushes or defenses all on their own.
Yeah, and as you look at those type of characters, you need someone who can get in their face, especially Grover. He deals more damage depending on how far away he is. The further, the more damage. And of course, with the legendary card, that Ferocity adds that bonus percentage on top of it. One bad axe catching you in the wrong spot can really take you out of a fight completely. So that's why Grover's a huge fan favorite.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of it is because it is a very satisfying, you know, animation to have to see a long-range axe just completely chunk. I mean, that axe has got to be about the same same body type as like a Knessa. It's like throwing a Knessa
It
at
sure
you.
is. And one sniper for another, but I think at the end of the day, it's a pretty cathartic experience. We
Yeah.
all grew up as children wanting to be a tree and throw axes. It was just this dynamic Freudian dilemma within all of us, and we're finally able to live it out with Grover. So I think that's an exciting thing
I'm
for
a little
everyone.
worried about your childhood.
Well, what? Everyone did that, right?
I thought you
It's
played
just not-
soccer. Did you
I
try to be like
did, but this
like
was on the
Pele?
side.
Oh, okay. You gotta kind of diversify. You gotta get your parents had you get multiple activities.
Soccer, then the woods. That's how I was. Yeah.
Perfect.
And right in LA, right by LA, just hit the woods.
Tons of forestry in LA.
Absolutely. And of course, you know, looking at this one, I mean, forestry isn't the signature of Frozen Garden.
No.
It is an ice map, and typically what is known of ice maps is maybe going a little bit longer on the distance. They do seem to be a little bit longer in terms of that, but also I think one of the things about Frozen Garden, ice mines, things like that, they have very, very unique strategies that aren't just applicable to other maps. Jaguar Falls, Bright Marsh, you can run a lot of the same things there. Serpent Beach, you can run a lot of the similar things there. Frog Isle, but really when you get to Frozen Garden, ice mines, you start having to say, I need to draft around the map, not just so much against the other team.
You bring out the funk. You know, you got to find something that might catch people off guard. I mean, heck, we saw it with Kanko when they came out for Valencia. They were picking Timber Mill and ice mines a lot. And
Big
that
strength
was
of theirs.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that, you know, a lot of the teams, they don't spend a lot of time here. They want those concentric team fights where they have a set comp that can work over, like you mentioned, a handful of maps. These are different. Long lines of sight. There's a couple of very strange strangleholds, especially with the payload as it moves. There's a very defined underpass, which is a huge battle part. And we see all this positioning kind of toggled right around that focus area, whether you're on defense or on offense. So those are like kind of my go-to spots to really spectate, to see how well a team is going to perform, is how can they handle these positions, whether it's in their favor or specifically when it's not in their favor. What ultimates do you use to try to break that door to give yourself a chance to actually get those 2 straight points?
And you make a great segue for me, because ultimate management was a big theme for us here in the Paladins esports scene last PPL Fall in and the Paladins World Championship qualifiers. The European teams having a leg up in that. I'm not sure that will translate to console here, but what it does mean is that if you're watching at home, whether a player or a team decides to use that ultimate or hold it is a very important decision. We saw a lot of European teams, for I think a very smart reason, start holding those ultimates, be willing to go 3-1 down in order to have that ultimate back for that next objective fight. And the reason is, A, the game ain't over till the objective fight is won, and B, when you get an objective, you get 300 extra credits. So at the end of the day, you can really snowball a comeback if you do keep winning those central fights.
And especially as the game gets longer, you know, those credits being used in that item shop, you can do, you know, buy these different items that can reduce healing, that can take down shields faster. As we come back in the game, you can see those items actually on the board right there. A couple of master riding. This is another fun thing with these frozen maps, is you want to get those frontliners on those mounts, that extra movement speed to try to get those flanks or get that point pressure first. It's going to happen on the right-hand side here to start for Elevate.
Utility so important. Wonderful. Gets a nice, wonderful kill there with SirJamesParker tagging along. Finds one under WRLDedit. The Gankstars fall early. It's 5-2-4 here. Elevate controlling the objective, although 18% on the point for Gankstars. A nice shot from SirJamesParker. Finds himself a double in this fight. And slowly but surely, things are looking good for Elevate.
Well, here's the good thing about Elevate. As they had that advantage on the right-hand flank, they didn't just go right back to the point. They kept forcing themselves right into Gankstars. They had that numbers advantage you called out very nicely. Though always, as we transition, Gankstars has themselves in a 5v4. But again, 51% and counting up for Elevate. They still control the central area.
Marshmania trying his best. Can't break the chokehold quite yet. There's so much action here. SirJamesParker being bodyguarded here better than Whitney Houston. And Gankstars still trying to find a way back onto the objective. Elevate 87% and counting, 93. This will probably do it with those last 2 kills down, and they take the first objective.
Who would be Kevin Costner in this iteration of
I
Bodyguard?
don't know. Whoever has the pipes. We haven't heard these champions sing.
The Wxnderful finds himself 2. The one-trick Ruckus himself coming up on the leaderboards. As I'm sure a lot of you know, he's very, very well up. And Valencia, he was incredible playing this Ruckus very aggressively, but knowing exactly how to get out of sticky situations. You see him using that advance forward and backwards off that high ground, giving him maximum mobility.
Elevate here again, establishing control. That's what Gankstars are trying to avoid as they are facing an uphill battle. MTV's on the analyst desk felt very confident that Elevate was going to take this one, and so far things have gone swimmingly for them on the North American side. But Gankstars are not out yet. Wonderful has the Hexafire, goes in the back line. Genos is in a tough spot here. Gets around the tree and gets a bubble from Torvald, but here's the Hexafire. He says no playing around. Lights it up, and 3 go really loaded down, and SirJamesParker finishes off 2.
Able to get the Tempest to move everything through. It's a triple kill for James, and he's trying to find the 4th, but Grover's a little bit further out, coming back from the buck, but he's able to heroically back onto the high ground, but no one's able to touch the point. that's going to be a free push through a very quick 2-0 for Elevate.
Very quick. And part of it is they've just created so much space within this game for them to play out of. SirJamesParker and Leon hasn't died at all, and that just tells you she's not under a lot of pressure. No one's fighting her. It reminds us of what we saw going on with Bomb King and Brightmarsh that last set. Nobody looking at him, but that's because resources have to be on the objective. They have to be on the defense. Alan, they're playing out of their mind right now.
And all they had to use was the Tempest and the Hexafire. You talk about having that maximum efficiency when it comes to using your ultimates properly. Elevate absolutely showing why that is a staple in the current top-tier teams when it comes to it. And of course, see those flaming numbers on the left-hand side. Those are all those kill streaks. Again, just showing the domination that Elevate has had in that later part of the round. Looking to push this through for a 3-0. They have a lot in their kits here as far as ultimates go to try to control that point early on.
Look at the master riding from StiLes. He's ahead of everyone. He's creating space. Didn't get off the mount yet because that's still a useful resource he can do. SirJamesParker takes a big axe and is out of the fight. That's huge. Gankstars need to capitalize on this moment, but they don't. Bloakley goes down, the sub, as he was able to travel here and play with Gankstars, not showing up what they need today.
Oh, bold choice for the Hyper Beam. Wonderful, able to get one last charge of that advance just to get himself back onto the point. 51% relevant, counting up. Here's the Immortal in the face of the Whirlwind right in front of him. And Grover's looking around for his team to surround him, and they're not quite there as of yet. But now Naaaarrrk is following up, able to find himself 2 of the 3 that were converted, but Wxnderful still alive. Again, he's so slippery, and you can see exactly why.
And that's important. They need someone to contest to fight. This is 54%. They've got what we call the comeback mechanic. They will be capturing at a higher rate because they are down by 2 objective points or more. So this means that when they win one simple fight like this, it's probably going to be an objective capture. So right when this game looked out of reach, Gankstars pull it back. This is still a ball game.
It looked really good, too. I mean, the Whirlwind came out at the right moment. There was enough follow-up. Naaaarrrk, again, you're seeing him play very aggressively, and he needs some help behind him in order to make sure that this is going to be a good force point. You have a Naaaarrrk and Torvald, 2 frontliners that have no mobility skills, so they need something to help them surge forward. The Whirlwind absolutely served that purpose there.
And you can see how important SirJamesParker was in that first set. He gets poked out. They do find Bloakley in the corner, but SirJamesParker, you can see that him not having a big influence on this fight means Elevate doesn't do nearly as well. How important is it to keep this guy continually protected?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you see him kind of toggling back and forth with that mobility, that grace slide, and he does have that auto-aim ability when he uses that. On top of that, the distance with the Eminence, that long line shot that comes on through is major damage. We'll see if we see the Enlightenment coming out. She is damaging him when she uses it, so potential to get right in someone's face and take them down quickly, but that's going to be Wxnderful's job for now. He does have Hexafire, silenced off with the Nullify, but as the Void Grip comes out, he does advance backwards.
Good shield from StiLes. Fernando, one of the better looking champions in the realm, some would say. Wind up, ultimate coming from Buck. Decides to call it off. Not what they'd like to see here. Gankstars still can't find a way past this solid defense.
And the Buck Wild there was a good choice to try to open up some damage, but they need to combine that with something else. If you could have seen a seismic crash, that Buck Wild could have done a lot of damage across multiple characters, but not the case here. Gankstars has a minute left to push this payload a good 75% plus of the way, and they're still not able to get to that payload. It's retreating backwards if they're not on it.
And that's what's the problem with Frozen Guard. Sometimes you can see, hey, this team looks like they're on offense, but they're really on defense. Or this team looks like they're on defense, they're really on offense, and that's what's happening here. Wxnderful on a defensive position is actually into the offensive 75% of Gankstars' side of this map, and so it is not looking good for this push. They did get the point. If the defense holds here, Elevate will go 3-1 up, and this next objective will be their chance to go ahead and win this first game.
And again, we will get to the overtime period if someone gets to the payload before it reaches 0 on the clock. So here's a chance, obviously, for Gankstars to try to get that Buck Wild back up. It's at 82%. You can see in the top right. Hexafire is being used defensively just to make sure that there is no contest, or at least trying to keep them dissuaded from pushing forward, as our third commentator calls out behind us that timer dropping below 5 now. But everybody in red, you can see them. They're all completely trapped on their side of the map. It doesn't look good.
And it looks like this will definitely be a successful defense. Pretty dominant showcase. So what you could look at normally, at least what I would see, Alan, and I want to get your thoughts on this, is that it really still is Elevate's game. Maybe something happened in a different way. We saw Gankstars poke out SirJamesParker early. Maybe if that doesn't happen, it seems like Elevate have not missed a beat.
Yeah, and on the flip side, too, you look at what's good defensively. The GR's been playing really well. Again, we've been seeing Grok come into play. He's got that nice ghost walk. He's got a totem he can drop that gives him that self-sustain. And you can just see as that shock pulse bounces from player to player, that damage just continues to tick up and up. He's doing really, really well. The healing numbers are phenomenal for a Grok.
Well, that Totemic Ward is legendary choice, allowing him to get that CC immunity when he plants it down. A little bit of a wider base for the healing totem, as well as increased healing. So he's going for that sustainability, and that's something that Grok has been notable for in these last couple of patches. Has the Tempest ready to go as well. Leon and Ruckus the only ones without the ultimate here starting out. Again, Bloakley getting poked out, but this time they're all together. Hits the Tempest, 60% movement speed. CC immunes the seismic crash from Naaaarrrk, though, so doesn't feel that pain, and Naaaarrrk finds a kill, but SirJamesParker finds two.
Oh, watch out for Wxnderful. He's right here for free, throwing all that damage right into the side. He finds himself two, looking for a third, but it will be the Grace pickup from JamesParker. And again, that was very well played. You mentioned this, the crowd control immunity that the totem brings. Seismic Crash is a giant stun. He threw it right into a totem, so that's not going to actually do anything. A misplay there from Bloakley, but a really good Tempest to get that bonus move speed, to get his team right back into that back line.
And lovely, I mean, I really love the way Tempest can work to just surprise enemies. You hit it a little earlier than they think, and you don't have time to react. There's the Enlightenment. Will not find it. A nice clutch kill. Will, heal will actually allow the life to stay on there, but StiLes finds two. And that's going to be Elevate finding the easy Game 1 victory here on the Xbox side of things for the Paladins console wars.
This is a really good showcase for Elevate. I mean, they're just playing so controlled. I mean, you see Wxnderful, he's starting off with this aggression, with having that aerial assault. He has everyone turn, look at him, but what's this? Here's the rest of Elevate right behind him to take the other side of the fight. It's just, it's really good, kind of like a tug and war, just a left and right gameplay. We saw QG do that a lot in the PC side of things back in Valencia. It was a Buck and an Eevee, and it was one side was the Buck, he would come back, Eevee would hit the other side. It was just this whole, you know, this kind of a spin top kind of going back and forth, and it really dizzies you a lot, especially on a map like Frozen Guard, where there are a lot of line of sight breaks. You have to have really good communication, and Gankstars just wasn't there then.
I mean, the map it's so important as to how you decide of which side of the map we want to control, because they offer different benefits and weaknesses. When you control that right side or left side, when you're coming out of the base for Frozen Guard, like SirJamesParker wanted to do most of the game, you just have open lines of sights everywhere. You are exposed, but if you can have that ability, much of it created by StiLes, you will be doing very stylish things with your weapons.
Look at all that pressure. I mean, Leon is in the actual base of Gankstars throughout those kills there, and now the big crowd control that comes out, able to capitalize a kill. The Immortal as well being used for the immunity. Big double kill, then turning the focus. Just really smart target prioritization as well. You can see it's not just SirJamesParker focusing. You can see other characters and other teammates focusing on the same target. That's really, really crucial, and that's why they're able to steamroll through some of those team fights.
Feeling very confident, looking very confident overall, and of course, when you look at Gankstars, maybe not having it so together here. We mentioned Bloakley, and not to call him out, but he was not the intended member traveling with them, and that is kind of the plague of land sometimes. Sometimes it works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't, but you can see that they do feel like they're missing something.
Yeah, and again, it was a very unfortunate situation. You know, it was a personal emergency, and that's a tough situation for your team as well. The mentality's got to be like, well, shoot, what do we do? You know, we talked about Renegades yesterday. They kind of had that last-minute fill, and it's like, oh, well, scramble and practice. I actually got the chance to ride with Bloakley and the rest of the Gankstars team from the airport to the hotel, and they were saying that Bloakley hadn't even had much time on Terminus. He couldn't really fully understand how the ultimate had worked until the flight over. So, I mean, you talk about that not being as active as before, and, you know, Bloakley had a really good showcase in Valencia. He was really good on Makoa specifically, and he's a frontline player. And there's a lot of environmental and awareness issues that you kind of have if you're not involved in the game with your teammates. I mean, those call-outs back and forth are really important.
Yeah, and then it's also, there's this thing called synergy, which I think is so important in any sport, and of course any competition, but especially here when it matters the most at Worlds. You have to have everyone ticking to the same beat. That metronome has to be something that everyone hears, and if one guy's off, just like, you know, a chain link, if one link is broken in it, the whole chain falls apart. Doesn't matter how much of a great foundation you have outside of that. And that's what I think, you know, Gankstars have to look at here. But heading into their next match, do you think there is a chance for some adjustments, especially after what we've seen here? Maybe not much to go off of, but how can they at least start to turn this thing back in their favor?
I think they need to take a page out of Blight's book from the last round. They go down 0-2. They realize, hey, Talus is absolutely dominating us. Let's take him off the board. And you saw Talus banned out there. I think it was kind of a reactionary to what they had just previously seen. Definitely. But I think you need to try to identify what is the biggest issue right now, whether it's we need somebody or we need to take somebody away, and just, it doesn't matter how meta or top tier the ban is, just
Right.
get rid of it, get yourself one little step forward, and then it can start to turn into a leap and a sprint going all the way through. And speaking of, I mean, again, wonderful on Ruckus at Valencia was unstoppable. He had, I think, at least one pentakill. If I want to say he maybe had two with those big hexafires, again using aerial assault. He's playing absolutely incredible on this champion, and that would be my first look at is what do you take away? Try to get rid of the Ruckus. Either take it for yourself or ban it away.
I think that's important. Do you really prioritize Ruckus, though? And it's weird because maybe looking at it from an outside viewer perspective, is it worth banning a Talus? Is it worth banning a Leon? Is it worth banning a Ruckus?
Right.
There's a Naaaarrrk, there's Buck, there's Bomb King. Everyone's fighting for everything, but with console, meta shifts a little bit. These talked about those blasters being so much more mechanically challenging on a console player versus a PC player. But also you look at just series metas, kind of what we were alluding to, but really putting a name on it with Frog Isle being the next map. It starts to develop where, hey, it doesn't matter what's great overall. What's great here? What's helping them win here? Let's just make them adjust. That might be enough of a change for us to get a leg up.
Well, I think more than anybody here in the arena and probably at home, how devastating an Achilles heel could be. How is the foot?
Don't bring that up. Don't bring that up.
Sorry, too soon.
Yeah, I'm sore right now. Now I'm thinking about it.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Mind over matter. The thing is, what is the thing that's really crippling you down? And at the end of the day, if it's Ruckus, just get rid of it, in one way or the other. We'll see how it goes. I mean, Elevate does have the pacing control still to start off with a ban, and Gankstars will be able to react here as the second and third Talus going away. Once again, and talking with console players since the last handful of patches, it's been the Talus game show. I mean, you hit overpowered,
Yeah.
and it's just tons of damage funneling out.
Yeah, Paladins, man. It's really been so important for this guy, and especially in smaller maps. Frog Isle, I think Talus, in my opinion, has struggled at times. He's done okay, but there are just not that many sneaky ways he can get to you. It's very obvious because there's really two main paths on Frog Isle. This map does favor some aerial kind of champions like a Drogos. Bomb King can do well here. And that's why we often sometimes see in response or in anticipation either high-level flankers who can get to the back line or snipers.
Right, and you see the Naaaarrrk and Makoa start things off, as we were moving through the PPL specifically, that was like the duo that you want up front. I actually like this a lot because Naaaarrrk, she has a lot of damage reduction, a lot of extra bonus to her healing. She's so hard to move.
Yeah.
You take a Makoa as well, you can start to make that Ruckus use those aerial assault charges more often and not make him feel so comfortable. That's exactly what you want. It really comes down to, can those dredge anchors really land? You see Genos and Grover once again, though. We've already talked about how Grover responds on maps like Frog Isle.
And again, he kind of does fill that sniper role in Paladins right now, and he definitely fills it on Frog Isle. Bomb King grabbed up here for Gankstars, so they will go with the King, the Blaster, and now Elevate responding with a Fernando to top out their tanks and looking for probably another damage option. It will be SirJamesParker running that Leon back.
And why not?
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
We saw him so often sitting in the back lines for free, just dealing amazing amounts of damage. Now, as you look through this roster, as Buck is the final pick for Gankstars, one thing you have to keep in mind is you have a Makoa Hook, you have a Seismic Crash, a Maldamba Dread Serpent, and a Bomb King. All of those have some sort of crowd control. Elevate, there's a really big item out there, Resilience. It keeps that crowd control duration at a lower level the more you level it up. That's going to be a really key pickup as we move into Frog Isle.
Well, Elevate have set a startling tone here. Extremely fast pace heading into game 2. Will Gankstars be able to respond, or will they not have enough gas in the tank to really keep up? They are playing catch up here, and we don't know what will take place. But with bulk up Buck, Leviathan, Makoa, and a chain reaction Bomb King, there's a lot of question marks that could be answered in the way of Gankstars.
Are you a little questioning the Leviathan choice by chance? Because you ever CC immune to your output, you get the 1800 HP, but would you rather have seen like a pluck or something that could help you with the damage department?
I mean, Alan, I'm a big fan of Leviathan. I personally have played it before. It was really meta, and it was kind of just catching on. And I liked it a lot. I think it just gives them a lot of wiggle room. Change the TTK, and Naaaarrrk already saying that, Alan, how dare you question my legendary choice? I'm going to get first blood for you just like that. WRLDedit follows suit. He grabs 2 here, so this is looking much better for Gankstars starting out.
I really like the communication, too. You can see WRLDedit is positioning himself right behind that Makoa. Every time a hook is already there, he's getting at least 2 sticks onto people. That chain reaction, bonus damage, depending on how many of those bombs are stuck onto your opponents. Already up to 60%, and you can see Elevate is having a tough time getting past their point of the spawn.
But what's so good about this, Alan, is that they did not fully commit to that point. They backed off, and so now they're going to be able to contest here. And Gankstars are going to have to back off a little bit, or they are going to be in trouble, because here comes SirJamesParker, but there stands WRLDedit, planting his feet firmly in the ground. They're not the longest as Bomb King. He's got a big upper body. But now he's going to have himself an objective, and Gankstars look like they're back in it.
And I really like this as well. You see Buck and WRLDedit both jumping forward, trying to get into that spawn. Make sure no one can stay mounted. Gain yourself this extra space. This is all free payload push at the moment. You know, you're going to probably see that it's going to be the Maldamba sitting on top of that point, healing as he can. But all of this damage up front is going to keep Elevate a little bit more passive. That's exactly what you want for Gankstars.
2 minutes, 5 seconds left on the clock for Gankstars to push this through. They are down one game, but this is a very good look for them now. Nice ultimate from Buck. Buck Wild goes in, does go down right afterwards, unfortunately. StiLes picks up 2. That's going to force them back for now, and Elevate will defend.
Wxnderful's looking to get aggressive again. It is a 5-on-3, and you can see everyone trying to hide in that Makoa shield as they back up. Wxnderful looking for some of those extra charges. Going forward, will use the emitter. But pull, this is exactly what you want if you're playing for Gankstars. You want to get Wxnderful out of position as much as possible, force him back. It's an absolutely great play, but here comes the Whirlwind to counter.
Wow, this is an incredibly aggressive defense here, and Elevate, despite losing 2 points now over the course of this series to Gankstars, have responded with probably the most tenacious defenses we might have seen all weekend. They are now about 80%, and that's not something that we always see here on Frog Isle.
Not always, but this is a teeter-totter of a map. You know, it starts off for your favor, and one thing can go wrong, one kill doesn't go your way, and all of a sudden, your opponent is in your base.
Yep.
It's really, really short from start to finish, so you have to be really careful of how you position. On the flip side, if Elevate gets picked out here, this could be dangerous, because again, that payload's in a spot where they can get to before the spawns come back up, and again, that payload can get moving pretty quick.
The thing I like about this, though, is heading into this with 50 seconds left, they've used their ultimates at a great time to be able to get them back. Elevate will have their ultimates, most of them, by the next round, so they can either use it for a last-ditch defense if they need to, or they can save it into the next objective fight. 40 seconds still, though, and King Bomb is ready for Gankstars,
yeah, if you're Gankstars, you need to be looking at the clock right now. You got 30 seconds left. If you're going to try to push this, you need to at least pop some kind of an ultimate soon, as you hear that 30-second mark start to elapse and move on past. And finally, Naaaarrrk is able to get into a position where she can start to contest this payload.
KRAZYy gets a lot of value there, forces a whirlwind, a blossom, and that's going to heal up for about 1,000 to 3 members because they were all grouped up here. SirJamesParker, Blackready, Grace, all of those things used with the legendary choice goes down right now, but she's got it back up. Welshmania doesn't decide to go to the left and really start this fight. He's getting poked out so low, he may not even have a chance to.
Yeah, nice. Grace, they're able to find 2 kills to SirJamesParker, and that's going to put things in favor of Elevate, looking to keep this overtime in their favor. It is still in effect, as you see WRLDedit is floating into that Void Grip, and that'll be enough for GR to pick up 2 more. 4 to the 5 down, defense successful.
Good stuff there from Elevate. They have responded, whoa, they've matched and probably responded in kind to whatever Gankstars have given them this set. But Gankstars looking much better, Alan, to start out this round.
Yeah, and this is going to be a really true test to see how Gankstars is going to be able to match up. You've seen WRLDedit has been absolutely dominating. You can see this is the positioning I'm talking about. Right behind that Makoa, able to see the hook connect and then change the focus target to make sure he can burst somebody down. He's been playing phenomenally. The question for this whole next couple of minutes we're about to see, 10 ultimates on the board. It's going to be an absolute dogfight on point. This is where I think Gankstars really needs to show up and really prove a point.
WRLDedit is a guy I've cast quite a bit heading here, and his road has been phenomenal. On Drogos, on Bomb King, especially on this map, he's had probably one of his most marquee moments, and so he's continuing that with a 6-1 KDA slash line right now. Wreckers 2s as well, and a little bit of nimble on Bomb King, which we don't often see, but it can work for him. Seismic Crash hits, gets immune by the Hexafire, but goes down anyway. Bloakley finds Wxnderful. This Ruckus has not had the same impact he had last game.
Really good channel from WRLDedit, although he was looking, I think, for the backline. Fernando stepped in front of it. It's still a very valuable kill. Now the Dread Serpent comes out. Welshmania putting on the gas pedal, getting right into their face with Naaaarrrk. The entire team is just absolutely swarming around Grover. They take him down, and Gankstars did exactly what we needed to see them do, able to dominate that team fight.
The only thing here is they did not get much capture objective. I think Elevate will still have a chance to get back here, but one of the best things Gankstars did was they saved Ancient Rage. That means they've got that huge time extend on the objective as things get really bad, and really only Burst can make that a lot quicker, and it's not the type of chain reaction burst that Gankstars have, but here Bloakley caught out in a bad spot, 93% on the objective, and now Welshmania finds a kill on the StiLes, but Bloakley will fall here thanks to SirJamesParker.
Now the Ancient Rage in effect, again, the extra HP coming the way of Makoa, trying to control it. Will it find the kill? Bloakley again fell earlier, so didn't connect there, but he does find a kill on the WRLDedit. An opportunity now for Elevate to come back in. They have numbers. Buck low. Naaaarrrk is also falling low. If they can clean up the Makoa player, this might be the retake they need.
Oh, that might not have been the hook Naaaarrrk wanted. It actually brought a little bit of damage to him, and he needs to stay alive. 78% now, but StiLes finds Welshmania, and the stagger is not in the favor of Gankstars. I can't believe it, but Elevate seem to have maybe turned this around. They're still contesting, though. No ultimates to either side yet. It's just a mano-a-mano fight, and Makoa hooks Wxnderful onto the objective.
Oh, but he does fall very quickly. Good target prioritization with SirJamesParker and StiLes, and now with Bloakley falling away, the Naaaarrrk was never able to get back onto point, and that really hurts. Oh, Void Grip mid-air, mid-jump. Welshmania does not like that, I'm sure. 2-1 the score for Elevate, and again, you take a look at the two big players up top, 5 streaks for both Genos and Ruckus. That's exactly what you want to see, the support and the front line working hand in hand, keeping that point fight intact.
SirJamesParker does something we don't see. It actually goes off camera right when that moment happens, but he uses his enlightenment, he stays alive against WRLDedit, and he finds the kill, and that was a big one. If WRLDedit stays alive in that fight and he gets snowball, I don't think they got it, but sSatisfies, definitely sSatisfies with that through time and space, buys him team both of those assets, and StiLes picks up another one. This Fernando, so aggressive, so valuable to this team. Elevate look like they are pushing, and they have not stopped at all.
Now, Naaaarrrk does find a really big kill over on the right-hand side. You see him there through that little jungle area, able to find SirJamesParker. They need to take down at least a support, if not a frontliner, if they want to have a chance. There's the nice sort of peel as Dreadserpent comes out right into a Dredge anchor, but it's not enough to find StiLes. A nice immortal being used. Bloakley falls.
Buy so much time, and that's it. They just don't expect to last this long. Windup goes in from Buck, but here's the Hexafire. Wxnderful! See you later. Finds one, looks to maybe find two here. Headshots galore, and he will finish off that Naaaarrrk with the help of KRAZYy. Buck looks to fall, and this is Elevate pushing it in 3-1 over Gankstars.
He's so slippery. Wxnderful is able to find these cheeky little routes, these little hesitations to where he can find those Hexafires. It satisfies, you mentioned him earlier. I mean, we haven't talked about much this cast yet. He really shows up here on the Genos, able to find a really clutch through the wall on this through space and time, looking for, again, a big pick on the support. Really well timed, and that's a pick you really want. That Damba being down was a big key to why they were able to get that last push.
I love it, and you saw Damba kind of go back and then to the right. That's when you know someone's caught, when they instinctively go one way, realize it's too late. The change to Genos' ultimate to bring that from 1.5 seconds to 1.2 seconds as a cast time was so impactful for those plays to happen.
Yeah.
I think before that change, he would have gotten out of that one. So this is a very satisfying finish for sSatisfies, and now Elevate again, stare at an objective point and a game point all in the same.
And they're going to go right onto point. They don't even want to have Gankstars given a chance to get that comeback mechanic in effect. They find 18%. Naaaarrrk finds the first kill, and that is on the Genos, which is a big pick. Can they get aggressive and really turn the tides here? Again, this teeter-totter of a map. Oh, but Welshmania was trying to push that left-hand side perspectively, not able to do so. He does fall once again. Wxnderful, the Ancient Rage in the face of Elevate here.
That's a very early Ancient Rage out. He's going to get two. Is it going to be enough? They feel they can commit here. Is that going to be a third double kill and a spray? Naaaarrrk happy with that one. And Gankstars, they've warded off the danger for now, but will they have maybe made a mistake here using all their resources, and there maybe still being a little bit of time for Elevate to attach themselves to the objective? Doesn't look like it. They get the third one, and they're going to actually go up 2-3 here and have a chance to get back in this game.
Oh, Bloakley, you need to get out of there, my friend. Everyone's already running away, and you're still hanging around. If they can find this pick onto Naaaarrrk, it would be a big start for this defense, but they're not able to do so. Ooh, Dreadserpent used in responses to try to keep everyone alive and get a little bit of peel happening. 2 minutes and 10 until overtime, and the payload has stopped right at the top of that first hill.
Nice hook there as well. StiLes forced to get not so aggressive right now. Bloakley taken out midair by KRAZYy the Grover. Been a good keynote for them, but not necessarily the most dominating Grover performance we've seen on KRAZYy. We've seen Bugsy go 27 streaks and complete dominance there, but KRAZYy still definitely doing his role for the team.
you're looking to, again, get aggressive is this defense. It's a short map, so if you do end up falling, you do have that respawn to get you back essentially where you just were, or where you at least need to be.
Yeah.
And Wxnderful, again, getting this high ground. He does have a Hexafire available. Actually, all of Elevate has ultimates to spend if they do choose to do so. 1 minute and 30 seconds, and if you're Gankstars, you have no ultimates, so you need to find some poke, try to get somebody low and get a kill.
And that's what Elevator's so good at. Their composition, Leon, Grover, Ruckus, I mean, they're so good at poke. Even Fernando with the fireball. StiLes finds Welshmania here, and I don't see this getting much better for Gankstars anytime soon. But Gankstars, they have to look at their ultimate. Can we just get them charged? Can we get ready for the next objective? This looks pretty dismal right now. Wxnderful taking Bloakley, and looks like he's going to finish off Naaaarrrk. So I think they're looking to next round now, Alan.
Yeah, and they have to be at this point. I mean, the payload has retreated again. If you're not on it, it will steadily, but slowly, but steadily, start going back to that central point. It's pretty much back at its home base now in the middle of the map. So Gankstars has a long and just really devious task in front of them to try to get this payload to actually go the full distance. So you want to try to get those ultimates to 100%. If you're Elevate on the flip side, you don't want to spend too much because, again, it's just going to turn the tide. They'll flip-flop the entire scenario against you for the next point.
Gankstars trying to make their way back. They've got 30 seconds or less to get to the objective and push it all the way through to tie this game, and that'll start it. WRLDedit finds a quick 2. This may just be what they need. Gankstars 5-3 now in this push, and if they can keep it staggered, Alan, they still got 20 seconds on the clock.
So if they can find this, Fernando would be huge, but those bombs not quite able to get around the palm trees, so it won't connect, won't get the kill, so I think this might be a different situation. Look at this trap that's being set up right here, though, Evan.
Okay.
If they can find a pull
This
and a
one.
connection,
Oh!
not quite able to find it through the emitter that was popped, but that would have been absolutely crucial.
Great reactions there as well from Wxnderful. And SirJamesParker, a little bit on an island. You've got to be careful. WRLDedit can end you like that, and that's something that you just don't expect. You can never plan for chain reaction Bomb King damage. It's just not in the books. You don't have that studied down, and so Bloakley trying to keep himself together. He is that sub for this team, and so far has the seismic crash. Will he elect to use it? He's got a wall.
Really weird spot, too. That was kind of the question mark, as he was looking almost, like you mentioned, for that little bit of a cheeky flank around that little rock for something in the back line, but not quite lived up to fruition. So again, we will head into this third round with that big 10 ultimates up. It's going to be big.
Boy, and you know, these fights have been very even. I mean, in terms of the objective fight, they've gone either way. StiLes has had a big impact on them no matter what. And as he tries to get hooked here, you can see he's just been so slippery, so aggressive, just a thorn in the side of Gankstars this entire game.
It was just a really good Immortal, too. I mean, as that payload was about to complete its journey, he was falling low. He had teammates nearby that would also be affected by that damage immunity. Really good trigger from StiLes. He's been playing really smart Fernando gameplay.
Right.
We see very often Fernando's will just hold W, just sprint in, and then, uh-oh, I don't have an escape to get back.
Exactly.
He's been managing his cooldowns very well.
And through Diamond Space, it's going to find Bloakley, so he takes about 70% of his life right there. It looks like Wxnderful finds WRLDedit. This is bad news bears for Gankstars. Here's the seismic crash to try and stop it, but Resilience, oh boy, that life was sponsored by Resilience, so to speak, and SirJamesParker finds 2, and it looks like he may find some more.
But there is, again, Naaaarrrk in the Ancient Rage. He's falling low, does not have much to work with as far as teammates to help him. GR will find that last axe to take him down. Elevate now in control, up to 39% and counting. It was 20% though for Gankstars, so not the worst situation. You mentioned it before in opposite fashion for Elevate. Now possibly Gankstars can take this back in one retake and maybe get that 100%
They
need.
kind of just beat him to the punch on those ultimates. So now maybe if they're not off guard, WRLDedit still with King Bomb. And here it is. Maybe they can find one. StiLes goes Immortal, perfect use. Oh my God, sSatisfies is in a very aggressive position here, and Welshmania doesn't like it whatsoever as Geno's gonna 1v1 this box. SirJamesParker says, no, I'll find the kill for that one, 84% and counting, but SirJamesParker finding 2 may have just sealed the deal for Gankstars and put Elevate in a 2-0 lead.
Oh, Naaaarrrk trying to stay alive in the bubble, but won't be able to do so, and that will probably do it as they try to track down the Damba. They will take him out. Elevate find themselves Frog Isle in their favor. Very well played again, but this is the life that I think Gankstars need. They really did go more toe-to-toe in this one. Elevate still, there's so many big issues that Gankstars has to deal with. There's obstacles around every corner when it comes to facing up against this well-rounded lineup, and you're seeing exactly why.
What's interesting is that in that point fight, we talked about that comeback mechanic, we talked about those extra credits. In fact, it was Gankstars who had 600 credits from objectives that they had captured, and Gankstars who only had 300 from that because they had gotten that one in the second round and pushed it all the way and then gotten defense and gotten to that 3-1 position. But, you know, Gankstars had captured 2, so they've got to be feeling good despite losing that last one that they can dominate a game here.
Yeah, and you mentioned the resilience pickup, 600 credits.
That
that's
was a big one.
Free, 2
Yeah.
levels of resilience. That's
Yeah.
a lot of control back in your favor.
Yep.
And that's one thing you kind of have to be careful of when you're drafting is if we take too much crowd control, you can get countered out for one of the cheapest items in the game. And that, I think, was really what told the tale in that last round.
And I love Wxnderful's adjustments. He was just so smooth. The transitions between advancing, shooting the missile launcher, again, keeping up with the miniguns. There's so much that you can add when you add the aerial assault dimension, the third dimension to the Ruckus. But SirJamesParker, consistent as ever on this Leon, and it has to raise the question now, do you ban it?
It's tough because Wxnderful's doing just an incredible job on Ruckus as well. But again, Liana's one of those picks that has been kind of fluctuating back and forth. Is she viable? Is she not? Is it just certain situations? SirJamesParker has put an exclamation point under the viable category here. More than that, has been dominating. I mean, topping the damage charts in the last game and looking really solid here again. Is look at this reaction. Again, these are with the thumbs. This isn't not mouse. This is thumbs. I wouldn't be able to do it.
No, I know. I mean, pretty incredible tracking there. Of course, Leon has that wiggle room, so to speak, because she can just press a button and you know, be able to hit in a little bit of a cone there with Valor, which secured that last kill. But of course, it is really important to see him taking the alacrity, which is augmenting his grace so that instead of hitting one single target when he slides, he's actually doing damage to all targets that are in front of him in the visibility of that cone when he slides. And not to mention, that adds weapon effects as well. So everyone's getting cauterized.
Yep.
Wrecker's getting applied everywhere.
Talk about that poke game again. I
Yeah.
mean, you're going up against a Bomb King. That's like one of the best poke-based champions in the game. But Leon, when you can start to target multiple characters
Boy.
a lot,
Yeah.
that's why you see 147,000+ damage that comes out from a hit scan character.
Yeah.
We don't typically see that all that often. And again, SirJamesParker has had an incredible showing on the Leon. But again, you go back to the whole, what does this do to your draft mentality? It's just really tough, flat out. I mean, she's tough to deal with when you have all this protection right in front of you. I mean, Naaaarrrk right there, again, he had a really solid game on Makoa, but it just wasn't enough to get people out of position. So
What are they laughing about? That's what I want to
They're
know.
having fun. That's the good thing.
Hopefully, I mean, if I could be that happy losing 0-2, I mean, sign me up for whatever you are doing, whatever seminar that is. I want to take it because Gankstars definitely not losing a beat in terms of confidence, joviality. That's important here as well. The mentality, not only when you're playing, but when you're not playing, and the in-betweens. We saw actually a conversation of when I had on stage with Skeppy. He said, you know, with the starting of the game and how long it took to kind of get going and the pauses, he actually got really anxious. And so that's why you saw Blight have those couple of games that they lost early on. I mean, that could be very important. Something takes too long, a pause, you know, an admin stares at you the wrong way, you start getting, you know, affronted. I mean, anything can throw you off, so it's nice to see these guys smiling.
Those sideways looks can come from Root a lot often, too, and that can really put you in a different state of mind.
I mean, he doesn't get his name from nowhere.
Exactly. Jaguar Falls, map 3 coming up. A very similar environment here. Very tight quarters, but not so much from the length of it, but from the width of the map here. You're going to see, again, 3 different kind of sections from left to right. You have Jaguar Falls, the actual themes of the map, the control point, and then you have that big gaping landscape or that skyscraper right in front of you, and that's going to be really tough. And we see Torvald come out a lot, and he can completely change a game just by having one big ultimate.
Oh, yeah, I know. And that's one thing that you kind of hit yourself on the head over every single time. I cannot believe I let Torvald knock me off the map again. I mean, when am I going to, you know, and it's you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can't teach Torvald new tricks. He keeps doing the same thing, but it's just such a good trick. I was talking to Dry Bear as well. I said, when you design something that's so inherently broken, he stays viable no matter what nerfs, no matter what kit changes happen. And he had to laugh at that as well as one of his last remnants he left before leaving Paladins for Bot Smashers, which has been announced this weekend and something you should try and is available to try here at HRX 2018.
I know as soon as I get the chance to, I want to get my hands. I know Golden
You
Boy
and me?
got. Well, you want to 1v1 it?
Let's do it.
I am such at a disadvantage working in the studio. But yeah, it does look like a lot of fun. And again, having that ability to kind of dance between different games, you know, just have a good time. And
Yeah.
especially for these guys here, you know, talking with them on the bus over, it wasn't like we don't have our full 5.
Yeah.
No, we got Bloakley.
Yeah.
He's a proper bloke. His
I
name
mean,
says it all.
I mean, and I'm sure they have so much fun with him. I'm sure they love him as a guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure, you know, he's just probably one of the better guys you're going to meet. At the end of the day, too, we get to play video games. We get to talk about video games. We have a pretty awesome job. And when you're in this position of just awareness, you know, even if you're losing 0-2, you're like, man, I got flown out here. I'm on stage. You know, I'm getting a little something. And yeah, things are going our way. Let's do our best next time, guys. And I like that adjustment, that mentality that they see. As you can see right there on your screen, that was the Battlegrounds and the Smite area behind us. full crowd here, getting even warmer as this kind of preludes our PC action coming up later today.
Featuring those boys you just previously saw, the Kanga boys.
Yeah, surprised they're showing their faces. It's a little early, you know.
Yeah, a little bit.
No cameras.
Guys.
Yeah, I mean.
But it's just really interesting. Again, you know, you talk about teams like Gankstars, but Elevate as well. All of the console teams and a lot of the PC teams. You talk to those guys, and they're feeling good. They're feeling confident. They're feeling energized, and that's exactly what you need for Gankstars. Now you have the chance to control this draft. Grok banned away. You're going to get a first pick. I think this is going to be a really good sign as far as what does Gankstars think is going to be their best point for success in this first pick.
And that's important. Gankstars here have the option, as Alan mentioned, to kind of set the tone, and it will be the Naaaarrrk hovered over and selected.
Here.
Seem to be having some thoughts about that one.
So here's the thing with characters like Naaaarrrk and Fernando on this map. Left to right, the impasse or the Fernando shield can completely block away things. And Naaaarrrk, again, very difficult to move from the point, but it hasn't been a contested pick yet, so is it really worth the value? Ruckus, Makoa picked up. That spells trouble if you're a Gankstars fan.
And not just because of the champions, but because the comfort levels for Wonderful on the Ruckus. It's not just Ruckus, it's Wonderful's Ruckus. And when you look at those pairings, that's when we talk about that series meta. They just aren't making them make any adjustments. Elevate might have the chance to get SirJamesParker on Leon again and pretty much keep doing what they've been doing.
Look, the Bomb King pickup is a really smart one here, though, in counter to the Ruckus and Makoa. Again, you want somebody who can deal a good amount of record to get those shields down. Again, a big item when it comes to destroying anything in your way as far as a plasma shield goes. And Genos coming out. Again, this is really interesting. You know, when we were watching Blight play Genos, it was not just a healing Genos. That was an in-your-face Genos, and Elevate has the potential of doing that. And, are we going to see it? This will be the first time if it does get locked in.
Some diversity. That's what I like to see up in here, guys.
Would like that.
I know. Well, you know, I cosplay as Lex. I didn't bring it to the HRX, you know, but I did it. You guys can believe that. Just I won't show any pictures or anything, but believe that I did it.
I saw it last night.
Yeah, it actually, I had it in my
Totally
cast. Somebody memed me and did a Lex thing as well. But the flanker here on Jaguar Falls, he's a notable pick because I think when he's moving around these very, very small corridors, it is very important to note that he can do it almost faster and quicker than anyone on these tight maps.
Yeah, and the Buck choice is, I think, a really good response as well because you want to try to have somebody who can mimic that mobility. Yeah. And he does a pretty good job of doing that. The Maldamba is a really interesting choice as well. Oh my gosh, the Androx is coming out too. So this is double flank hit scan. Again, Androx, we haven't seen much of here either. Have we? I don't think we've seen him yet.
I don't think we've seen him yet.
This will be fun. Lex Androx is coming out for Elevate. This is going to be a true test to see how aggressive Elevate can get. This is going to be a really fast-paced game, I think.
And I have to say that, you know, Gankstars do look good getting WRLDedit back on the Bomb King. That's a comfort pick. They take StiLes away from the Fernando, and he's been so effective on that throughout the day. So Elevate now having to switch up a couple of picks, and they go, not even the casters here were expecting. Two flanks here on the tight map of Jaguar Falls. Androxus and Lex able to run both of the sides of the maps either by themselves or together. It's a dangerous duo. You do not want to turn your back to either of them.
Yeah, and you see Bloakley there. He's feeling good, feeling confident still. But you need, if you're Gankstars, like as you look at this matchup on paper, you need to get that first blood. If Makoa pulls you out of position and you go down, Lex and Androxus are going to have a field day. They're going to make your defense just completely Swiss cheese, just so many holes all over the place. So if you're looking at Jaguar Falls and if you're looking at the side of Gankstars, how do you get back in? Find first blood in these team fights.
Well, it's not over, but it could be anything but if they don't get this win. Gankstars fighting against the ropes yet again. Elevate trying to make it 3-0 as we head into Jaguar Falls. And it's going to be Bloakley again on the Naaaarrrk. And most notably here, we're going to be looking at SirJamesParker on that Androxus. The heroism Lex. This is something that, where is he? He's in the crowd. We talk about this all the time. Moon Choppa, our PC players from StiLes said this was broken. This was so good. And he said this should be what everyone plays.
Yeah, it's the crowd control immunity. It's the damage reduction. It almost feels like how Ashe was previously with her battering ram. And now coming into it, you see SirJamesParker on the right-hand side, able to find the backline and finding two juicy targets as well. Meanwhile, Lex flanked the other side. So again, that's that big pincer move to start things off. A nice heal coming out from Genos to keep KRAZYy alive. And this is just so much chaos on the side of Gankstars. No one is near each other. It's just 5 isolated players, 2 of them already falling.
And KRAZYy doesn't have to play those kind of off picks now. He gets to go and frag out with the dual magnums coming through, and he finds the kill onto IXeno. And SirJamesParker up in the air. You got to look on the ground or the skies because revolvers are coming at you in either height dimension. as they go ahead and clean up the rest of Gankstars. Elevate in 60% and counting on the objective.
And looking really solid again. The pressure is there. Left to right, there's a nice spread as far as where damage is coming from. You see Ruckus right up the middle on Main Street here. 93% completely making sure that nobody can get in for free. And you see it, Naaaarrrk falls away, and Naaaarrrk doesn't have a chance to touch. So it will be the first blood on the scoreboard going the way of Elevate.
And Welshmania, really, we saw that duel happen earlier, Alan. Is that heroism coming into play? I mean, he was one shot away, but that slide bought him a lot of time, get around the other side and get some heals. I mean, maybe this is something that works here.
Well, think about it as well from the side that you can actually dodge through a couple of ultimates on the side of Gankstars because you can just slide right on through without having to worry about that crowd control. You see him on the right-hand side here. Nice pull coming in once again. StiLes finding himself 2 of those kills, trying to get the retribution target marked. That's Bomb King, but will not push much further. It'll actually be SirJamesParker cleaning up Bloakley, who was left staggered alone right in front of base. And no one's really pushed the payload. Now find us where's the payload at.
Yeah, that's how you know they're dominating. They get them into their base and they realize, oh, we got a payload to push. We're just winning this fight so hard. Let's keep it up. These guys, players at heart, they like to keep on fragging. Oakley here drops by. Bloakley, excuse me, and it's just a bad spot, bad day, bad timing. SirJamesParker lights him up, and that's just what this team is bringing. So much damage. Elevate have not given Gankstars a chance to respond.
And you can see Welshmania is trying to do that poke battle. Now finally trying to get aggressive just to try to switch and flip the field. Won't be able to do so all that successfully, though. He's getting himself a 1-1 versus Genesis, but the stellar win. Look at him playing a little bit of dodge and weave right here. Nice pull from StiLes as well, right around the tree. The heroic leap. Will it be enough? Not quite. Satisfies, again, kind of throwing a little bit of insult to injury there. 1
minute, 2 seconds left on the clock, rounding the corner of this crucial Jaguar Falls choke point, and they seem to get by it very easily because they're just playing so far ahead of where the payload actually is. Wxnderful spots out the Fernando, but he's trapped on both sides. Lexon, Ruckus able to bring him down to about 30% health. He pops the shield back down. Bloakley gets taken yet again, and this is just almost feeling like they're bullying this guy. Wow, eliminated KRAZYy with a nice Lexecution, and he's gonna find the third here in the room. Elevate successfully push, and it's 2-0 Jaguar Falls.
Yeah, this StiLes gameplay has been incredible. He's been setting up a lot of these kills. I mean, granted, everyone's been converting them very, very fluidly. That's really good to see. But again, you see him getting these big clutch pulls, able to find the targets, and then making sure that nobody escapes. Just really good play. That's why this Naaaarrrk was so caught out. It was because StiLes was able to find the Damba and then pull away the Nando. 2 low HP targets. It's good focus from StiLes.
Well, when you have that front line, and you have Fernando or Makoa over there, and they get out of position, they can shell spin, they can charge, they can get right back into position, team doesn't have to move. When Naaaarrrk gets out of position, that is a long trek back. You almost have to commit to being there, and now the team has to work around it, and that opens up space to play through. Someone can come in, start to pincer you on the left or the right, isolate targets, and that is what Elevate has done so well.
And you see those blue chains popping up on the right-hand side. That's that resilience we talk about so often when it comes to making sure that crowd control is not doing as much as it possibly could. The through space and time on the point, but again, a nice Immortal actually just to counter things out. Looking good so far for the boys from Gankstars. If they can find a pick, they got SirJamesParker down. StiLes is able to back up, though. This is good play, and on the flip side, WRLDedit able to help out with another kill.
They do need one more, though, I think, to really be confident, and there it is. KRAZYy goes down, and if they can find StiLes here, that's a perfect point fight. They've got the comeback mechanic, means they're capturing a little bit faster now on the objective, and this, we've seen this almost deja vu with these two teams. After that 2-0 push, this one gets captured by Gankstars. We'll see if Wxnderful can make it back, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, 4% per take when you're behind, and that's what it's looking like so far, and it won't be enough distance covered from Elevate, so Gankstars get themselves their first payload of this match, looking to make it into even 2-2, but they have a lot of ground to cover and a lot of obstacles. Again, so much to deal with. The Dread Serpent coming out for Gankstars, trying to keep that momentum in their favor. They're able to find StiLes, which is a big pick. If they can get Wxnderful here, this is actually a big moment as WRLDedit is not able to finally go all the way in.
He's going to back off. 2 minutes, 5 seconds left. Gankstars now have a chance in the driver's seat and Elevate. Forced to wait 2 minutes, defend, and see if they can have another go. Comeback mechanic did not help them to get another fight, and they've got to be so careful when that is the case. And wow, SirJamesParker just doesn't miss. Welshmania goes down.
And the cursed arm from up top, looking for the support. Will take down a lot of the HP pull from Damba, but he gets around the corner. Reversal also coming out, but the impasse wall blocks it away. But still, Gankstars not able to find the success they need. A really good counter ultimate there from Androxus to push everyone away.
And if Elevate do what they've done every single time Gankstars have gotten an objective, this should be a very successful defense, pushed all the way back after a win. And, you know, Alan, this is one of the things I like to see that separates teams that really know the higher level mechanics. When you're able to not only just defend, but not sit on your laurels,
Yeah.
and then go ahead and create more space and more space. That's something that takes cohesion, but it also takes confidence.
But here's the thing too, if you're looking at Elevate, it's not just, okay, we have the advantage, let's push forward. It's how they push forward and then strategically move back when they know that there's a team fight about to break out. You don't want to fight too far on the enemy side of the map, and you can see Wxnderful's got a nice cheeky corner here, looking for possibly a Hexafire if anyone pushes too far, but the miniguns will do the job just fine for now. Now going up and possibly over, but does clip a little bit on that big ledge in front of him.
Ruck is going up and down. Now gets taken out is KRAZYy, and SirJamesParker follows suit, revenges his old friend there, and hopes to at least stave away some of the onslaught that may have been coming. IXeno has a stun waiting around the corner, and he's going to get out of this one. We don't know. WRLDedit does clean it up, and SirJamesParker falls. StiLes still, though, in command, and SSatisfies on a 14 streak. This Genos hasn't died in a long time.
No, he hasn't. 14 straight kill participation for him. You can see that on the right-hand side, top right-hand corner. He does have a through time and space if he decides to wants to pull it. But again, 15 seconds left. This should be a defense successful if they're able to, again, keep this pressure up. If they can continue to make sure Gankstars is not comfortable on the point. But this is a big impasse ball. It keeps both frontliners away. And you can see Genos is scrambling, trying to get back. A really good emitter pop for the side again of Wxnderful. He's so slippery. He stays alive and gets a kill. Really good play there from KRAZYy. Able to come up and assist as well. It's just the Naaaarrrk left on point. She falls. Parker with 2. Defense successful.
To me, this is all JamesParker and KRAZYy who have pushed, who really, when Wxnderful were in trouble, they made the commitment to go forward and help them out. And when everyone tried to look at Wxnderful, they bought time because, oh, wow, Lex is shooting me 100% of the time right now. I can't do both things. I have to play defense, not offense, and that keeps their front line alive.
And that's why it's great to see SirJamesParker in something a little bit more aggressive this time. Him able to nether step to and fro as he decides to please. And this is that 1v1 again, able to find that. Unfortunately, Buck had to reload, and here's the big accursed arm that was going to be able to help take down most of Maldamba's HP pool. But up and over, that's the big thing, and we don't see a lot of Adroxus on console because think about how much movement it requires. He's playing the Headspool role, which gives him the extra ammo, so he doesn't have to worry so much about taking cards that give him the ammo back for nether stepping. He's using it almost purely as a way to maneuver, and it's looking great.
Bloakley 0-7, Welshmania 1-7. WRLDedit though, 8-4. He's clearly the star, clearly the guy showing up and feels comfortable on Bomb King. But is it enough? Elevate have the chance to win this game 3, put themselves in a set winning position next game if they continue. So far, Gankstars though on the objective with Naaaarrrk getting 23%, but Wxnderful and KRAZYy find 2. And they're looking to make it 3 here as they collapse on the WRLDedit, who last remnant of a dying team.
What an incredible split from Elevate, though. They send both flanks over to their left-hand side. They put both frontliners right onto the point, and Genos flexes in between. A really good Void Grip put onto the Buck, keeps him floating right as he triggered his ultimate nonetheless. So the flanks are able to focus, get that kill, and then rotate back over to help the frontliners. It's just really good crossplay from Elevate.
60% now. They're looking to close this game out and move on to game 4. And a Hexafire, well, that doesn't care about a Dread Serpent because he's CC immune. He's going to finish off Naaaarrrk. And Naaaarrrk forces the Immortal early on as well, 84% and counting. Welshmania cleans up what may be a consolation prize as KRAZYy is still alive. Heroism Lex on a 10 streak, but Bloakley has snuck himself back onto the point. May just be a day late and $1 short though. Elevate gonna collapse onto him. Bloakley, he's probably gonna go down, and this looks like an Elevate victory unless Xeno can get back on.
Yeah, they still have a chance. Fernando's here. He does not have an Immortal available, though. If KRAZYy falls, that would be big, but the fire is not enough to take him down. And Adroxus falls low, though, so Naaaarrrk able to open the door here, potentially sits on top of a gourd, get that health pull back. Overtime in effect, 99% for Elevate, but 78%, and the team fight's still developing.
Overtime, as you mentioned, trying to tick away, but both teams battling it out. Elevate knows if they get this one, they are almost secured with the victory, and StiLes puts a styling finish onto that one. Bloakley again, the last remnant, and it will be Elevate taking game 3 over Gankstars, moving 1 game away from heading into the Paladins Console Wars Finals.
Enough style to be featured on the front page of GQ, I would imagine.
I'd imagine too.
Yeah, that was just, I mean, again, that was at the start of it, an even team fight coming out. Naaaarrrk did exactly what he had to do. Touch the point, stay alive. He did it. The problem is, StiLes just jumped right in, able to hit a lot of those cannonball shots, a number, again, of clutch dredge anchors, pulling people away from where they want to be. And when things go crazy like that, where you find yourself in a lot of 1v1s, 2v2s, little staggered team fights, a dredge anchor can really flip the battle in your favor.
I mean, I also think that drafting is, I got to start looking at that now as to why this matchup keeps going the same way without really any differences. And, you know, StiLes has been on a comfort pick. SirJamesParker has been on a comfort pick. You know, despite the Androxus being something new, you see KRAZYy on this Lex kind of flexing out some skills with some new legendaries. They've never felt uncomfortable. And they haven't really, on the side of Gankstars, been willing to adjust too much and really switch up their draft so that Gankstars have to face, Elevate have to face something different. KRAZYy just doing what Lex likes to do, and that's execute people under 60% health.
Yeah, and he not only did it there for the push, but he also did it once again. This is a really big play here. As you see the Immortals being used, he's taking a lot of time to line everything up and then finishing off not the one, but Maldamba shows himself on the right-hand side. That's a big play. I mean, we see it so often. For a long period of time, just before the fall finals, Lex wasn't played because shields were just blocking everything. When it comes to that big execution, you just never felt like his ult was ever fully connecting. Not the case here. Again, you find the characters that are able to avoid those shields. You have the good timing. You have the ability to kind of have that internal timer in your head of when is this Immortal going to expire? When can I start to channel mine? It's just really good practice play. And when you talk about good mechanical Paladins, those are the instances that really showcase that.
sSatisfies, Wxnderful, StiLes, KRAZYy, SirJamesParker. They are one game away from heading to the Paladins Console Wars Finals. These teammates looking very, very confident throughout this entire set and also looking very good. You could see Blight's interview with Skeppy. He was respectful of these guys to the nth degree. He knew they were going to bring it, and so far they have gone exactly the way that everyone else anticipated they would.
Yeah, and that was kind of the call and early on from the console scene was it was going to be a North American finals. Of course, a lot of resilience put up from Ghost 5, and Gankstars has a lot of that experience we talk about when they were playing in Valencia. It's just so interesting to see how the game has changed in that short amount of time, even when they were starting to do their qualifiers and these new bloods kind of coming into the scene and joining up with these formal rosters. I mean, Wxnderful, again, was on Strictly Business with 3 of the guys that were playing earlier from the North American side, you know, has that LAN experience and is, of course, a leader when it comes not only to setting up a front line, but also dealing damage. I mean, his Ruckus gameplay has been absolutely incredible, and that's a staple that Wxnderful has really set early on in his career and one that you really can't ignore anymore.
No, he's definitely a guy that should be in your mind as a viewer. And, of course, heading into this last game, it's going to be Brightmarsh that they take their chances on to go ahead and set this set down and go ahead and concentrate on tomorrow. Their competitors, Blight, have already qualified, so now they're looking to be joining them. And really the story there is that one of the teammates was able to kind of split up, find his own voice on a different console, and being PS4, and then, you know, an Xbox, those two teams spreading away who were the champions of DreamHack Valencia, and now basically able to face each other tomorrow if this game goes the way of Elevate.
Great story, for sure. And, I mean, as you look at a map like Brightmarsh as well, I mean, this is another tight quarters map where you can get away with picks like we see a lot of Talos, see a lot of Grok, Ruckus also does very well. I mean, there's just so much that can go in the favor of Elevate here. And if you're Gankstars, I mean, at this point, it's really tough. You know, when you sit down and you take a look, you have some time to talk, you need to find one thing. Again, I keep saying, you need to find one thing to go your way. And Talos will be banned out first and foremost. I guess the question for Gankstars becomes, do you want to let them have Grok to start off the draft? The answer is no. But as you take a look at this first pick, I mean, if you see Ruckus locked in, I think that really does show the hand for Elevate. But it will be instead the Makoa lock.
And now Gankstars have a chance. They can take the Ruckus away. They're going to go with the Naaaarrrk. That seems to maybe be more of a conversation around Bloakley, because he's played Naaaarrrk every single game. Maybe that's his comfort pick. He said he was talking about Terminus. Maybe the other Stigala got brought up as well in that conversation, and they said, you're playing Naaaarrrk, but they do take the Ruckus for the second pick. And that's an adjustment I'd like to see.
I like it as well. I mean, we saw it again. We mentioned it earlier in the cast for joining us late, that Talos was the big influence maker on that PS4 final. It started to get banned out, started to go Blight's way. Now, if Ruckus is not on Elevate, how much does that cripple them from being able to pull out how their playstyle has progressed over the last 3 maps? Genos coming out as well. Again, we've seen how aggressive he's able to be here on console and deal damage. But Fernando as well is going to really help, again, set up that front line and make sure that Elevate can control the point.
You know, every set it's always about kind of a litmus test of what really is helping you guys to be the difference makers. And I think a lot of them, probably Gankstars were looking at SirJamesParker's Leon. I mean, it was so dominant, but then he switches on to the Androxus, has the same effect. Now they're kind of finding out maybe a little too late that maybe Ruckus is the central point of this team. And I think it may just be too late for them to impact the actual course of this game. they're going to try with a Bomb King and a Moldava locked in as well.
Yeah, never say never and never let die for Gankstars at the moment. You never know what could possibly happen. Bomb King locked in with Damba, as you mentioned. Buck now coming out again. A lot of backline pressure, and oh, here we go. This was the Drogos that the desk was talking about that they wanted to see. Again, it's a lot harder to control him with the sticks than it is with the mouse and keyboard, so it'll be interesting to see how well he's played, and are we going to see a Sky come out?
Oh, wow.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
There
it is!
Don't know what to say about this, except that Sky is surprisingly decent on Brightmarsh, considering that she's not a meta pick and it's been a meme throughout the entire history of Paladins esports. However, you know, it's funny, but G2 Esports got that win with Sky against Terminus on Stonekeep, and it's not like Virtus Pro weren't trying. And so Sky has her moments. It's just that, will this be the time? Will this be the thing that turns the tide? Have they taken the Ruckus and gotten the Sky and done too much at one time? To me, those are the questions I'd be asking about this Gankstars draft.
And you talk about when G2 pulled out the Sky at the fall finals, and before that, she's just been so taboo. People whisper about her, like, oh, Sky might be good here. But until G2 really was able to shred through Terminus, people were like, yeah, I'll take this podium. Sky is good at dealing with big bodies. So that's going to be the key as you take a look at the Sky and how Welshmania will be playing her. Can he get the damage onto the Fernando and the Makoa?
That's the big key. Debilitate, taking away so much of the health pool of these frontline champions, because it's percentage-based health that she's working on. It's not a number. It's based on the amount of health you have, and those high health tanks are going to suffer more from it. So Welshmania being very patient, doesn't need to go into this fight soon. Whispering because he's playing Sky, and I think that's important. Connotate the exact situation, and there it is. Debilitate doesn't actually find one thing,
but it keeps Genos out of the fight. That's the big thing.
Away.
Yeah, that's really, really big. We talk. Oh, they're able to actually track down the kill, so very well played there. Now Bloakley is able to get really aggressive on the point. They have no support for the side of Elevate, so that health not being reinforced is going to lead to Gankstars really kind of sweeping through, and now they're getting staggered kills. 66+% for Gankstars, looking solid.
That's very good. Elevate now on the back foot, maybe not knowing what to do. Obviously losing the Ruckus now, having to deal with this Sky, who did force their healer out very quickly. SirJamesParker with the Drogos. Naaaarrrk, WRLDedit again continues for his third game in a row on Bomb King and continues to look good.
Yeah, now again you can see the Sky
99.
chewing through Wxnderful. Again, not so slippery on Fernando there, looking for some backline pressure, but the shield from Makoa will block some of those poison bolts. Still in stealth, looking right back towards the Buck, who's trying to contest the point, but taken out quickly, and Genos is left to just watch his friends fall. All his friends are indeed dead.
Well, boy howdy, to quote Rory earlier today. What a change in pace for Gankstars. Sky gets introduced, and Wxnderful exit stage right, goes back to base for 10 seconds because that's Welshmania putting the Debilitate poison bolts. He's got a time bomb here. He may throw it. StiLes is basically dead. That is the kind of finishing power that we'll see. Time bomb goes out. What's he gonna find? Doesn't look like much. Oh, StiLes gets picked up in the corner. WRLDedit finds one more. Naaaarrrk finishes off SirJamesParker. Gankstars, what's gotten into you?
It is all about Sky knowing what targets to hit. Get the Genos out of the fight. Stealth back up. Find a frontliner. Absolutely great play from Welshmania. He's playing really patiently, too. And that's the really big thing, is now I'm looking to push on through. 1 minute and 40 seconds to overtime. The payload still has a little bit longer to go. And now SirJamesParker, really, what can he do in the Drogos? He does have a Dragon Punch available.
Biggest change here, SirJamesParker has been a non-factor, and Welshmania has been a huge factor. Bloakley goes through the seismic crash through time and space as well. SirJamesParker connects and sSatisfies. Finds 2 on the through time and space, which is very, very fortunate for him and his team. Elevate, who have already lost 2 in that engagement.
Yeah, it's a really nice Immortal coming out from Wxnderful as well to make sure WRLDedit could not find any damage off of that King Bomb. You saw him rolling into a tree. That wasn't a mistake. He was trying to make sure he could try to outlast an Immortal. Not quite the case. Still a minute left, though, for Gankstars to come back through and try to push this. A lot of ultimates spent, actually just about everything, with the exception of Buck and Makoa, who have recently charged theirs up. And again, this is really interesting. What does Elevate do? Do they stay back and turtle up, or do they try to get aggressive? They get a kill on Bloakley. It's a good start for the defense.
KRAZYy continues to find himself on these damage champions now. Buck being the one he's playing, but hasn't had the most impact starting out. Remember, he got taken down by Sky in that first objective fight, and now he's just trying to get his wind settling down is Elevate, who may be surprised by Gankstars' new draft and some of the things they took away. Did not have a good start to this one, but 20 seconds remain. Can Gankstars push it through? It's 80% of the way now. A nice hook as well. KRAZYy finds Naaaarrrk. That's going to put a damper in the plans.
Yeah, but they still have 20 seconds. They could do something. They can find a pick. But the question is, can they find that? A lot of low health pulls through. Wxmania does fall away. A nice pull once again from StiLes, able to find Xeno. And that will be the start of what is the end of this first round, certainly as we get to below 5 seconds. And nobody's even close. Wow, KRAZYy moving in and a long distance shot from JamesParker as well on Drogos. He's been finding a lot of shots so far.
And that's the thing. He needed a little bit of space. Bright Marsh is different for Drogos because that room is not one where he wants to fight on unless he knows everything that's going on in there. He's very constrained. Don't put a dragon, give him wings, and then force him to be in a room. You know, KRAZYy should have shown you that one doesn't work very well. And as you can see, Wxmania on that Sky, changing the pace of this game, changing the conversation, and it's a good note.
Melting.
Gankstars.
It's just, it's butter in the microwave here. It's just an absolute melt fest for the side of Wxmania. You hit those right clicks, those poison bolts just start to tick, 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 tick away while you're also left clicking people down. I mean, it's just really hard to stand up in that, especially in a 1v1 situation. I mean, she's just so good at handling that against really about anybody, but specifically going into front lines.
Heading out Wxmania again with the ultimate available. Looking to maybe use it. Takes the left side. He did this before, so maybe they weren't paying attention, but he's got a free route. They're all grouped up. This is such a good time bomb location. He's going to finish off the Drogos first. Then he's probably going to throw it unless he feels he doesn't need it quite yet. This is a great resource, and why not? If you could just go ahead and battle it out. But Genos has something for her. The Star Splitter will not go down without a fight, and SSatisfies does have to run away. He's in enemy territory. They're shooting at him. They do take him down. Naaaarrrk will find the kill there. A double and a time bomb. What in the... what?
The little finger roll, the finish off for Style.
What a waste of an ult.
Yeah, but regardless, I mean, again, really smart play from Naaaarrrk. They were able to find one kill up front, and then knowing the Genos is behind just to flip around and get that kill. Really smart play. Wxmania, a little bit of a misclick there. And Dragon Punch comes out. It's able to find Bloakley. That might just be the opening that Elevate needs to get this frontline online. But again, Sky is doing everything she can to make sure frontliners have no health.
And Decrepify, that's the card like Antediluvian and Brand 4 that really reduces that healing to 80%, and even early game, which is when it's so important. But Wxmania, again, is just looking dominant. There's a King Bomb, sets it up once more. And this looks to maybe be going the way of Gankstars yet again. This will put them 600 credits up and a 2-1 advantage over Elevate.
I will look at WRLDedit now getting aggressive. You know, the King Bomb used there just in the Genos was maybe questionable for some, but don't put it to risk. Get the kills, get yourself the point, get yourself a much-needed lead, and now start to poke away. A lot of low HP pulls once again. Wxmania on the right, WRLDedit on the left. They're doing a really good job of having this crossfire come out, reminding me of my childhood in the 90s with a little bit of that action.
reminding a lot of people of a lot of things there with crossfire. What a notable feature for so many individuals here. And now WRLDedit trying to find his mark into the game. And wow, he found it. 1170 is what it looks like. Chain reaction bomb thing yet again. And that's why Wxmania threw his bomb. He gets it all the time. He just got it back about 30 seconds later. Might as well use it.
Absolutely. And another big pickup. Once again, a frontliner support goes down. You have that payload moving for free. It's about 80% of its way through the point. You see that bar at the top filling up. They still have 1:35 seconds to push this all the way through, but this is the true test. Can you break this last point?
Sidekick Crash ready to go. Throws the wall up into the air, and now 1:26 seconds left. Elevate have to try and defend, but Gankstars are at the precipice of pushing it in and going 3-1 up. This is not what we expected, but Wxnderful and Elevate, they have settled down. They have relaxed. They're trying to find a breather, but there's barely any room. It's like the water's filling up to the top, and there's only so much space to get oxygen before you drown. Gankstars look to be really mounting the pressure here.
Yeah, if they want to really put this one a little bit more out of reach, they need to find a big seismic crash or crowd control, something, you know, to get into this area that Elevate is just so easily able to defend. See, the health pools are relatively good. Bloakley's falling low, but again, a lot of crowd control, but you need to open the door right now if you're Gankstars.
WRLDedit finds at least 3 people with those bombs, and that's one of the benefits. He's getting the AoE pressure, and this is bad. SSatisfies could go down here. WRLDedit has a perfect vision, but he cannot hit that one. Dread Serpent as well. Gankstars are going for it. Time in space starts. Naaaarrrk though with the Hexafire, Allen.
Yeah, and the Immortal came out right in the face to counter it, and it's actually going the way of Elevate because of a nice trigger on Wxnderful playing the Fernando, able to hit that Immortal right in the face at the end of that big Hexafire play. It was the right idea. They needed to be more. It was just a little bit too staggered. I mean, you saw, again, the Dreadsimmer come out. Hexafire was a little bit late. There was nothing else really to help follow that up. Seismic Crash didn't really find the value it needed. Fortunately, they still have King Bomb, though, so not going to probably get a chance to use it here, but we'll have it for potentially the next fight. We'll see if they decide to commit and try to push this for an overtime. They are close.
I think it's going to go. I don't know if they'll push it through, but they've got the overtime, and that's KRAZYy finishing off Naaaarrrk. That is big, but that fire spit does not go through for SirJamesParker. Ooh, read that book before, he says. And Welshmania goes down to one more rocket. Looks like he's chosen to go ahead and help his team defend here. It's 2-2, but Gankstars in control.
And the thing is this, Elevate is playing so well as a 5-man squad, but the good news for Gankstars is Sky is really good at slipping in the back line and taking one of those pieces away. That's going to be the key as we move through. On the flip hand side, as you look at flanks for Elevate, GR has been doing absolutely incredible job on Buck, finding these opportunities to move in, move out, poke when he needs to, chase down kills at other moments. Again, low H pool pulls right in front of him, able to find a lot of these kills, actually just about all of them. It's 2 of the 3, and that's just really, again, knowing when you can get aggressive is the storyline of most Bucks.
And I think the storyline for, Elevate is this kind of even-keeled tone they've had. You take a look at some of the players, they really haven't had to face adversity really throughout the course of more than one round. And now they're facing adversity 2 times in a row. Can they really make the adjustments? I think just getting track of it. Welshmania doesn't go left again. He goes right, but he throws the time bomb. Is it going to connect? No, SirJamesParker finds Bloakley. Oh, this is bad for Gankstars.
Yeah, that was a really well Ancient Rage. While Gankstars is trying to get back towards some kind of safety, shell spin in, big wielding dredge anchor in his hands to kind of slice and cleave his way through. Really well played by StiLes. But again, it all starts with, we want to be aggressive.
Yeah.
Let's not wait. Let's just throw everybody at the front door and knock it down.
And it was really, they pincered them 2 rounds in a row. Welshmania went left the entire time near the water, and he goes right this time, gets caught out, dies very quickly. He doesn't have an impact in this fight. So SirJamesParker able to zone, can see where everyone's coming, doesn't feel under pressure from the sky. This is going to be important heading on, but look at this, WRLDedit finding a couple bombs still, 87% counting for Elevate, but they may have to back off now.
Gankstars is moving forward, using a couple of as well. Nice stun as well onto GR, so he goes down to a couple of sticky bombs. WRLDedit now pushing forward, trying to find the Genos, but he's going to keep himself in this atrium area, taking time bomb just to zone people away, as Welsh was able to find one more on the sky. Again, look at the debilitate coming through, ticking away at Makoa, is going to force him into shell spin and shell shield to try to get him out. The smoke bomb right back through. Welsh is in the back line. This is dangerous.
This is important, though. He can't find a kill. That's really the problem with Sky. She's just, when she's out, she's out. Yeah. And hopefully she gets a kill, but if she doesn't, it can come back to haunt you. Gankstars 99%, but here's Wxnderful. And there's a Hexafire from Naaaarrrk trying to find it. And there it is. He just might. Drogo's in the air. SirJamesParker flying around with the rockets, and he's in the right spot for those. Overtime ticking away, and I think it is going to go the way of Elevate.
2 for 2 for Wxnderful on really good Immortal usage in the face of a Hexafire. Naaaarrrk not able to find any kills, although he was starting to get, I mean, again, really big positioning for him. The ultimate was well used. It was just the simple fact that Immortal was up, and all it takes is one more keystroke for Elevate to make themselves stay in that fight.
And again, I really do question the use of those time bombs after the team fight is won. You could have totally had an impact on that room fight with the time bomb available, but despite Welshmania doing really well, and I'm nitpicking here on some of the things he could do better, it has been a great performance for Gankstars. But Bright Marsh, it all comes down to if you can win the room. And so far, Elevate, they've taken what hasn't worked for them 2 rounds in a row, adjusted, and won round 3. And this could be the final push, especially if SirJamesParker can find a big salvo and a big Dragon Punch.
Yeah, but on the flip side, it actually was another big dredge anchor that came through. Found Xeno first, Welshmania second, StiLes finds Naaaarrrk now, and it's going to be up to the last 2 members of Gankstars to try to keep this payload away. But a minute 30 seconds, the impasse wall was good, but finally able to get back onto it is Sky and Damba, but they have to use a lot to try to keep themselves in control.
SirJamesParker, nice salvo there from the top. It may just be that this is it. And he goes for the Dragon Punch. I said he might need a couple of these to work it out, and he takes down IXeno. He's going to fall. And he's going to go down. WRLDedit finds 2, and he's the last hope pretty much in terms of damage for his team. Elevate lose 1, so close to losing Wxnderful, and he does fall as well. So Gankstars holding on to their last breath, but it is not enough to satisfy, and Elevate, they go ahead and find themselves the ultimate victory.
Yeah, and that was just a tough spot. Naaaarrrrk was 1 HP, and Bomb King, I don't think, really quite saw that. And WRLDedit needed to get down to touch. It may have given them that little bit of enough conga to get them into a spot to contest, but not the case here. And Elevate, again, looking solid, looking good. And you really can't ask for much more.
Look at this. They won. They won.
Okay.
They're in the finals. What is this?
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
This is like, guys, 5-minute bathroom break reaction. Gankstars looked like they won. I mean, it's incredible. One of the things I want to shout out about these guys is they are young and they're energetic and they're fun, and they know that the Paladins console series is just beginning.
Yeah.
The console wars happen in Valencia. It's happening here at HRX, and this upcoming year with the Paladins console series on Mixer, we've got so many things that are helping to develop these teams and get guys like KRAZYy, who was pretty crazy this last game,
my goodness.
in a spot to really become a known player, known figure in the community.
On big power picks, too.
Yeah.
That's the key, is that he's able to pick up the buck and do really, really well with it. I mean, he's able to capitalize on a number of, again, we mentioned the low HP pulls, but besides that, he knows when he can poke. He knows when he can prod away at those targets that are full HP. He knows to make the decisions of when to jump in, when not to. And it sounds like such an easy thing. Well, you guys keep talking. It's easy. You either choose to hit the F key or you don't. But it's more than that. It's what communication is going on, what positioning do you have. He's seeing the field 100% from left to right, and that vision is really key when you play somebody like Buck.
Well, looking towards tomorrow and kind of wrapping up today, of course, it was Gankstars who had some valiant efforts, especially in Game 3. The sky didn't pan out, excuse me, in Game 4, but it will be them falling to Elevate, who will make their way to the finals of the Paladins Console Wars. And here at HRX 2018, we've been unveiling so many great things, but this console stuff has unveiled to us a great level of competition between both of these guys, and we all expect to see maybe a little bit bigger of a competitive match happening in this tomorrow matchup with the Paladins Console Wars. I mean, even Blight, their competitors, were very scared.
And the big storyline for me is the fact that it's the champions split between two teams, a little bit of 3-on-1 action between them, and it's going to make for a really good setup. I think you saw a lot of, differentiating in comps from both sides. You saw the Wxnderful today come out late, but on top of that, you saw how influential a Talus pick can be for the other side. This is going to be a really pivotal matchup to see where exactly the console series is and how it can progress from here.
And of course, that's going to be something that these players are going to dictate. We can only provide that kind of, I think, resource, but these players are really paving their own paths, making their own stories, and it's been exciting to see them. And for me, even looking at Gankstars, picking out a bright spot, I mean, WRLDedit, he had positive KDAs almost every single game, and on that Bomb King looked phenomenal, so he may be showing his caliber is one of the best, but his team just couldn't do it today. Elevate, they're going to be moving on, and like we watched, Alan, in terms of highlights of this, you and I watched the first game.
Yeah.
Who do you have?
It's tough to say. I mean, they both play really succinctly between each other, but as you looked at how strong the full rosters are, I'm personally leaning a little bit towards Blight. But if Wxnderful gets Ruckus, I think it's over.
It could be over. We'll see what happens, and let's leave that question for the analyst desk to ask. Why don't you take it away, Golden Boy?
Thank you so much, gentlemen, and what a semifinal there. Despite the 4-0 scoreline, a lot of storylines to take from that one there. Welcome back to the desk, Golden Boy, along with Bees as well as Goremizer. And first and foremost, you're going to start at Frozen Garden, Frog Isle, and I think the story of these two maps was wonderful. And no, I mean, not that it was wonderful, but the player. Wxnderful was amazing. Wxnderful was wonderful. Look at that. So clever. No?
That's where we go.
You're not gonna laugh?
I'm not touching it. I'm
You're not gonna let me have that? Anyway,
it's my kind of joke.
What was it about, Bees, I'm gonna pick your brain here. What was it about the Ruckus play that was so good from Wxnderful?
The one thing that I'd say on the Ruckus that was phenomenal was his positioning to take angles, and as soon as the enemies even got relatively close to him, his repositioning to another perfect angle,
just like right there,
with just one jump, was fantastic. There was one part where he was on the bridge on Frozen Guard. He jumped off onto the stage area and then further back behind one of the trees. Each jump, perfect positioning with each of them. It was fantastic play.
And one of the things that we kept seeing, and we actually ended up mentioning, it was during Frog Isle we had talked about it, but I've noticed now that it happened there on Frozen Guard and it happened on the map afterward, where it's just they kept picking the Naaaarrrk, and you were mentioning that. It's just, you can't run away. She's so slow. You can wall, but it's Ruckus. He's just going to eat through your wall. He's just going to keep on firing, and he's going to be able to trace you. And since she's so slow, it's just easy to keep your targeter on her, keep hitting her down. And they didn't really have a place to stand on. Even though she's really tanky, she just wasn't living up to that.
Yeah, but then you go to Game 3, Jaguar Falls. Again, Elevate continues to dominate here, but we saw some fun picks coming out of this. We saw, SirJamesParker, who I'm dubbing SJP. my man. We saw SJP bust out the Androxus, which was fun, and then we also got the Lex from KRAZYy. And KRAZYy, he had some big plays, but it was really awesome to just hear everyone go nuts for the Lex plays that we witnessed there. What is it about Lex that made him a game changer here, and why it took so long for us to see him here at the Cobb Center?
I mean, for me, it's always just partially you don't get to see him that often. You don't have as much practice against a Lex, and when it plays that well, he's really good at getting his economy going. He gets those targets, he gets a little bit more money in his pocket, he gets his items online faster, and with the way KRAZYy was playing, he was just able to buy anything that he would have needed, he had.
It's crazy. And for you, Beast?
We've seen here, as they're shown on screen at the moment, the ult timing from the Lex play was absolutely phenomenal. He always chose the correct time to do it. Also, we see that they typically with Lex, he's a very unsafe pick when you're facing against a McCullough or something like that. Because they had the McCullough on their team, Lex was quite a safe pickup, and they played him again phenomenally, really well.
Yeah, I was really surprised by the picks and then the execution. Then you got your dream. You got what you wanted to see. You got to see the Drogos. How did you feel about that on Brightmarsh?
I was impressed. I was happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little more, I'd say, ground play with the Drogos on the consoles because, as I said, it is a lot more difficult for him to use the hover and to use all the different abilities. But I think he did really well. He used a lot of peeking over the top of corners and stuff like you would see on the PC. And I think it just goes to show that the console mechanically, they're catching up really well. And it's entirely for everyone. I'm really impressed. Genuinely.
For me, early on, it was one of those things I was watching because I was like expecting what can this Drogos do, and early on, SirJamesParker, it just didn't seem as though he was having that impact that we saw in the previous games. I was really kind of worried because I was like, this is definitely the deficit. It also helped that the Ruckus was no longer on Wxnderful for that game, so they take two big things down. And then it got to the third round, they get a team wipe. It feels like the energy kind of came back into Elevate there. And SirJamesParker started hitting those Dragon Spits. He started making sure that all of those rockets were on point. And it just revitalized the team.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I will say about the Drogos, and funny enough, so I used to play a lot of UT3 back in the day. And I'm blanking on the gun that was there, but it also did the same thing from the Dragon Spit, right? I think it was a lightning gun where like you can throw out the pulse charge and then shoot it, right? Typically on console, we had to carefully time those.
Yeah.
Whereas like we'll see our PC counterparts kind of just like throw one out and then fly and then bomb and hit it, right? And like it's just a different way to go about doing it. So it was cool to see, SirJamesParker take advantage of that. One thing though, I gotta give. No, it wasn't Bio Rifle. It was. We'll find it out. I'm gonna Google it. Anyway, okay. I did want to talk about Skye.
Yeah,
Skye Peak was great.
Did not expect that. What made this guy so impactful, Gore?
It's just she can melt people. Like it's one of those things you kind of forget about it, but she does have some % damage in her kit. If she gets into your backline like that in a 1v1, she is going to demolish you as long as you're hitting your shots on time. It's one of those things in the comp. It had its showing, and it's kind of questionable as the game went on where those targets were picked up, but early on, the way that it was being played, going right into the back line, getting an early pick, being able to set it up to make it immediately a 4v5, it doesn't matter then if you just kind of back off and let the rest of your team do the work they need to do. You really started out that fight the way you need to, and that's where Gankstars were really, really showing their prowess.
I have to give Envy the props on that as well, though, because it seems that every time Gankstars, they play phenomenal, they play super aggressive, but I have to give Envy props on the fact that they'd adapt so fast and just be prepared for it after the first 2 points.
Yeah, that's right. And just so you know, I am dedicated to this. I think it's a shock rifle.
See, this is
I think that's what I found. This is the secret stuff. This is the secret stuff, the secret sauce. Anyway, guys, what a game. I mean, despite Elevate coming up with a 4-0 scoreline, still though, Gankstars, with smiles on their face, walk off the stage, but it was a great matchup nonetheless. And I was, as a console guy, hell yeah, I was all about that life. And unfortunately for our console friends, that's going to do it for now. But let's take a look at the bracket real fast and see where we are. And to kick off the day, we had Blight versus Ghost. That went quite a while, where we ended up with Blight getting that 4-2 victory. They're going to be moving on to the finals. And then Elevate with a 4-0 sweep against Gankstars will meet them. That will take place tomorrow. So overall, though, Not bad. I had a really good time watching these console games, and I'm stoked for the future, man, especially with the Paladins console league around the corner.
I'm always excited for the finals. Like, I love it when we do these because there's always, I mean, there's always console wars. There's a good reason this is called the console wars, because once we get to the finals, PS4 and Xbox, they get to prove who's going to be the best. And I like seeing that because I feel like that's when the energy starts to rise up. You're not only in your now the biggest finals that you can make it to here for the console series, but you are ready to prove yeah, you know what? We actually are the best here on either Xbox or PS4. So depending on how they do it, I'm so excited for it.
Fingers crossed, well, we see SirJamesParker wearing his Crocs tomorrow. I'm
Well,
hoping for that.
You know what? This is a great segue, Bees, because I did find out we have the one and only, my man, SJP, down on the floor with Vox. SJP, hopefully you like the new nickname, buddy.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. I'm here with SirJamesParker, or Parker as they're known to family and friends, who you just took the fantastic Xbox Finals for your region. How does it feel to know that your team is now the best Xbox team in the world?
It's a dream come true, man. It's super, super amazing knowing all my teammates. We all came from another game. I'll come in here. It's amazing having this opportunity.
You just picked it up. Now, you mentioned all your teammates. Did you play with these guys before you jumped into console wars?
Yes, we came from Overwatch.
Wow, so you got a long history there as well. Fantastic. Now, speaking of as well, that last set that you had, I want to ask you a little bit about that. You took the 4-0. Did that go as expected? That last game looked like it provided you with a little bit of difficulty.
No one was turning around to kill this guy. We were all yelling in comms to turn around and kill this guy. If the sky wasn't a problem, it should have been easy, but nobody could turn around.
The secret's in the sky pick, folks. You heard it here first. You heard it at home. Watch out for that sky pick, as it is coming for you. Now, a little bit of a question for you as well about some of the preparation going into this. You're playing cross-platform with the finals here as well, but you're also playing cross-region. You just played against your European counterparts. What kind of preparation goes into getting ready for an international event like this for you?
We had no idea what they played coming into this. We had no preparation of what they used or what they picked and banned, anything. We were just kind of going in blind. Just went from there.
And that'll be the same thing going in then to the finals as well, or have you managed to do some...
We kind of know what Blight does. We've seen a few of their matches, but...
Well, you got to see that fantastic final set for Blight as well, which was awesome to see. Now, before we go on, there's another question for you all at home. There's a bit of a reputation of a console that's not too great for specifically projectile-based champions. And you had a fantastic couple of games on Leon, then Androxus, and then you swapped to Drogoz towards the end. What's the process like for you to swap from hitscan from hitscan to that projectile champion?
I'm just super used to hitscan, and then swapping over, it's just like the first couple minutes of the game, it's a little different, but once I get into it, it just feels normal, natural.
And that's fantastic, because you played that Drogoz mean. I mean, those direct fusillade hits swing. Is there anything specific, any tips that you'd like to maybe give some of the players at home who are trying to pick up console Paladins and aren't too good with projectiles just yet?
Just play Drogoz instead of the back and try to hit fire spits.
And that's it?
Yeah,
just rep some of that Drogoz and just practice, practice, practice?
Yep. Just work on shooting in the sky and stuff, the simple stuff.
It all just does come down to practice, folks, as well. Now, you're moving forwards. Based on what Blight was putting on earlier, which I'm sure you saw their finals game as well, what's the main kind of difference, do you think, between these two platforms? Is there any big meta differences, any big special picks?
Not really. They basically all came from where we played, so we know what they play and stuff. It's basically the same thing.
So it's all kind of that North American representation as well. And this is an all-NA finals, which has got to feel pretty good for you, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. Playing against my friends, basically.
All right, I guess, because you guys, do some of you play, play the other console occasionally as well?
Yep, they come over to Xbox and play around.
But Xbox is better, right?
Yes, obviously.
Of course, there you have it, folks. We've got at least, it all makes sense. The Elevate Xbox team is repping Xbox here, and I'm a long-term Xbox player myself. I know that some of us are PS4 fans, but that'll do it from us for the time being. Folks, before we go, any quick shout-outs you want to give to your friends or family at home?
My mom's sitting right there. Thank you for coming.
And thank you for giving us this wonderful player, SirJamesParker, everybody. And now, you may, if you watched our keynote speech earlier, have seen a little bit of information about a brand new mode coming to Paladins very, very soon. Let's go ahead and check out some more information about Paladins Battlegrounds.